I didn't quite say, I think you've outed Tim Cook.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Sunday, June 29th, 2014. It's time for your Gitmo Nation Media Assassination, episode 630.
This is No Agenda.
Prepping my go bag for field day here in FEMA Region 6 in the Travis Heights Hideout in the capital of the Drone Star State. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
I'm from northern Silicon Valley, where it's sunny and fine. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
Oh, really? Really? Yeah, just because Google's not being friendly to you, you gotta phone it in?
I'm phoning it in. Hello, Adam?
Yes. Hello. Hello. I can hear
John.
you. Yes. Yes. Hello. What's up? Are you phoning it in again?
I'm phoning it in.
I wonder where that originates from.
Probably someone who phoned it in. They're supposed to be somewhere, and then they called instead. Where are you? How come you're not here?
So what's your problem today? Well, we're late. We're starting late. It's not like you.
The Google.
Yes.
There's something going on, I think. Either that or it's Comcast, which is possible. But the Google just wouldn't take these clips. It said, no.
It's funny, you know.
And I changed browsers. I went to Chrome. I said, will you take the clips, please? And Chrome said, a little more. Yeah, I'll take it. But it's not going to be anything I'm going to do on priority.
Oh, I feel better now. It's a Chrome browser. I feel more comfortable. It's more like a part of me. Yeah, well, it's, I as the designated IT person in department, better known as a dude named Ben, here around the house, I sometimes too have to catch myself and realize that yes, even the Googles or the Facebooks sometimes just don't work properly. It's not always something else.
I think there's something you mentioned, though, that should be reiterated, which was, is it possible that the API release that Google did for its mail system?
It's Gmail API, yeah. That could be screwing stuff up.
It could be a bunch of guys. I mean, what's the first thing that happens when an API is released? All the hackers in the world go, I wonder how we can screw up the system.
Yes, it's called pounding the back end.
They're pounding the back end.
Dude's name Ben, pounding the back end. With. Please. No, I've got a rhyme. Dude's name Ben, pounding the back end.
There you have it.
Yeah. This has been quite.
That deserves an in the morning. You're not giving enough of those punches.
In the morning.
Well, what I need to do is put a whole thing together.
I think his first name may have been Ben.
So a guy named Ben, a dude named Ben, dude named Ben.
We have a whole segment. Yeah, we got a whole segment later today.
Curiously, his last name is Dover.
Oh, please.
Dude named Ben.
Yeah. Okay, here we are. It is Sunday the 29th. And today we have the Netherlands playing Mexico.
Woo-hoo! Well, they should be able to take the Mexicans down.
They're very worried about it. I can tell the Dutch are pretty, I can tell they're worried.
Mexicans held the Brazilians. Didn't they hold them to do a 0-0 tie?
0-0, yes, 0-0. Now,
nothing as exciting to me as a 0-0 game.
What's interesting...
You pay big money, you go there, and the score is 0-0.
As we find out that, of course, we have is it now two?
They're 20 minutes into the game, and it's 0-0.
Oh, you're watching the game?
I just clicked on this thing, and it's giving me, no, I'm not watching it, no, because that would. No.
So now the New York Times, all of a sudden, is taking our theorem for predicting the winner of the World Cup. I'm not kidding you. New York Times headline: why you should root for Nigeria or Brazil, Mexico, or Ghana.
And then they iterate our basic thesis?
Yes.
But they never say that it's rigged in favor of one of those countries winning.
The basic principle is simple. Drawn from utilitarian principles, root for the outcome so that will produce the largest aggregate increase in happiness. This is exactly our, it's the basis of our theory.
Yes.
So Dean Carlin says, I came up with a simple index calculated by a country's passion for soccer, multiplied by its average level of poverty, multiplied by its population. It's perhaps a bit crude, simply to multiply these factors by each other, but the exercise highlights some important truths about the world. Now, of course, he does not mention the fact that this is all rigged. But he does say, these are the countries that you want to win. Now, Nigeria, I think, Nigeria is not important anymore. We don't even care about those girls. I mean, those girls came and went in 1 week.
Was that in Nigeria?
Yeah, the Nigerian schoolgirls, the Boko Haram schoolgirls. Yeah,
I forgot all about it.
Gee, so did Michelle Obama and her husband. Now, Brazil is obviously top of the stack. Mexico.
It has to be. Brazilian has, otherwise they'll burn down the country and ruin those stadiums. This is not even an issue here. The Brazilians are so mad about all the money that's spent on this and then the Olympics.
Something was pointed out to me that I don't watch this show, although, of course, I have in my life. The Simpsons did an entire episode on the World Cup. Well, not entire, but one of the plots of this episode. This was March 30th, so just a couple weeks ago. And in this particular episode, Homer is approached by the Football League to become a referee so they can bribe him and he can help Brazil win the World Cup. And the Simpsons have predicted weird things in the past, like 9/11 stuff, and there's all kinds of theories around what the creators of the Simpsons may or may not know about the Illuminati. Here's the setup of this particular episode where Homer is approached.
Mr. Simpson, I am the Executive Vice President of the World Football Federation. Woo! What you Americans call soccer. Down! I'm sure you are familiar with the World Cup, the quadrennial drama unmatched on the planet.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing that guys at the dry cleaners get so excited about every 4 years.
I'm afraid there has been an epidemic of referees being bribed to throw games. From the Premier Leagues to the playgrounds, all has been tainted. We need a symbol of integrity like yourself.
Mr. Simpson, I am the new Executive Vice President of the WFF. We need outsiders like you to come to the World Cup as our guest and ref our games properly.
So in typical Simpson fashion, Homer, of course, doesn't understand the benefit of knowing who's going to win by him throwing the game. But what's nice about these kinds of storylines is it explains exactly what is really happening.
Will it be a German blitzkrieg or a Brazilian waxing?
By the way, there's our blitzkrieg meme right there.
Nazis!
Nazi harborers.
Guys, you're both right.
All right, just so there are no misunderstandings, you make sure Brazil wins, and we give you $1 million.
If I bet it, I could double it. But on who?
You know that Brazil is going to win.
Oh, thanks for telling me. I was going to tape it.
Okay, so who do you think Brazil is playing in this final match?
Well, I would think Germany.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen.
And I have to agree with you. Now, of course, The Simpsons, there's got to be a moral thing here. And so Lisa convinces Homer not to throw the game. So here's the outcome.
This match is tighter than two dogs on a summer morn. There's no score at all. Even the slightest pebble could start a landslide.
And El Divo goes down in the box. Will Homer award a penalty kick to Brazil?
Do it! Call the penalty!
No penalty! He dove, Dad!
No penalty!
The game, plus 2 hours of funeral time, is about to conclude.
And with Germany the victor 2-0 in an unprecedented display of rectitude and stubbornness by one Homer Simpson.
I've never seen the Brazilians so depressed.
So everything is in there. The Brazilians being depressed if they don't win, but, of course, they won't be doing ole. They'll be burning down the house. I think we take the Simpsons prediction, fold it into our own theory, and say 2-0 for Brazil against Germany in the finals.
2-0?
2-0.
Yeah, most of the games have been 2-1. In fact, there was but I would say 2-1 personally. I don't think they're going to let the Germans get away with no scores. I don't think the Germans will put up with that. Play my scores, soccer update high scores clip.
Okay.
Neymar matching that tally for Brazil. There's also as well the number of goals, the sheer number of goals to take into consideration. 136 across the 48 games. That's 2.83 per match.
Woo!
They're really racking it up at 2.83 per match.
Now,
that's the 2-1 score.
I don't want to be as negative as you are about foosball, about the foosball. because I do enjoy watching the game. I also understand the game. You know how offsides works, and there's strategy and
oh yeah, and it's so important that you really keep track of that offsides because that player goes on that other side of that line, and he's a huge advantage if they don't stop him.
I enjoy watching the game.
I played soccer when I was a kid.
I did too.
There's this one tough kid. It's a tough neighborhood.
Oh.
There's this one tough kid.
This is in
nice enough guy.
San Francisco, tough neighborhood. Where?
Wait, suburbs.
What are you in Oakland now? All of a sudden,
the action was. It was out in the suburbs
in Oakland.
Out of control.
Uh-huh.
So this one kid, he's running down this guy. I think it was Joe Aruja. He's a strong little
Joe
guy.
Aruja. There's a name for you.
Well, everyone's Portuguese. So this guy kicks this guy, and there's a Portuguese area in Newark, California at the time. It was almost like 90. I didn't know at the time. I always thought they were Latinos.
Wait, did you say Newark, California?
Yeah, Newark, California.
Oh, wow. Because Newark, New Jersey is also a hellhole, interestingly enough.
Well, actually, Newark, California is a nice place. Oh. Anyway, so this kid kicks the other kid and misses the ball and kicks this kid in his thigh.
Uh-huh.
And by the way, we're all in the field, and we heard this. The loudest snap.
Ooh, no.
And he didn't just break his leg, but
snapped
he
out?
He broke it in two places. He pushed a piece out from the middle. So it was broken just below the knee and just above the ankle.
Wow. That's horrible.
And it was a noise that you'd never forget.
Oh, yeah, you never forget that. Oh, wow.
They felt bad about it.
I have had childhood experiences like that, but it wasn't. We used to play, for some reason, there was, they were building new homes around, when we first, I was like, I don't know, 9 or 10 years old. We lived in a village outside of Amsterdam. And it was small, and there was really, the bus service was once every 2 hours to get to Amsterdam. So we had to kind of entertain ourselves. And they were building new homes. And for some reason, we made two teams, and we thought it was a good idea to have a rock and shingle throwing fight.
That's never a good idea.
No, and then when you hear the
shingles,
and the clay shingles, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and you throw them in such a way that they're like frisbees.
And Fritz de Lange, I'll never forget the sound it made when that thing hit his head. It went, just the blood was just spread. And at that point, everyone went, "Oh, this was a dumb game. What were we thinking? Someone could get hurt." Yeah, stupid. Anyway,
all right. Anyway, I think we've beaten up the rule. This is our. I think this is our determination.
I'll stay with it. Yes, Brazil, Germany, 2-1. I'll go with you on the 2-1. I think it would be kind of weird if it was 2-0.
Yeah, you can't get to the finals and get shut out. Although I think 0-0 would be a funny ending, but I don't think they're going to put up with that either. That's the way this game is such a low-scoring piece of crap game that, no offense, though, there goes the donations. But this is my opinion as an American, that they have to rig it, or that most of the games would be 0-0.
No, that's not true. That's not true. I've seen all kinds. You can have runaway games.
30 minutes in Netherlands, Mexico, 0-0.
Yeah.
I'll keep this on the screen. I'll report back when one of the two teams scores.
It's really not a good idea. You're going to be distracted by it.
No, it's just, all it is just a 2 zeros there.
So I want to do a really quick update on BitTorrent Sync because I don't want to bore people who aren't interested. But we did discover something.
Okay.
If you so there seems to be like a little backdoor hidden way to make this work beyond the 50 peer limit. But if you don't know what this is about, then forget it. It's not interesting. But we feel it's the new version of the new distribution of media for the future. If you go into the folder that you've set up and you select Search DHT Network, apparently it then will work beyond all limitations. Now, there's two things about this. One, what is DHT? I had to look into this. Do you know what DHT is?
It's a drug.
It's DMT. Very good. No. DHT is Distributed Hash Table. This is actually, when you look into this stuff, this is fascinating. This is how all of the BitTorrent stuff works, but also Bitcoin. And I ran into all kinds of things. Faroo. Have you ever heard of Faroo.com?
No.
It's a distributed search. You FAROO.com. You should use this. This thing is amazing.
Amazing.
It's because I'm a big fan of all these different distributed peer-to-peer search engines. This thing is good. And then I found this a peer-to-peer distributed hash table Twitter client called Twister. There's a lot going on. And so anyway, I'm diving into this.
Going on. Nobody covers it. You know why nobody's covering any of this stuff?
There's no
because
company.
There's a new phone coming out.
No, there's no phone attached to it. That's the problem. What's this search engine you say? Is it a phone? No. So anyway, so if you do that, apparently that starts to work for everybody. Of course, that is not anything we can really bet on because it's in there now and it's not even documented in the BitTorrent Sync docs, which means it could also be removed at the drop of a hat. So we can't bank on any of that, unfortunately. But this distributed hash table, there's a future in there. And I was just completely obliviously unaware to what I've heard of it, but what it actually does. It's fascinating. It really is fascinating.
Oh, good. But there's a new phone coming out. Ooh, what do you think? It's new phone.
No.
Ooh, this new phone. Look, it's got a nice feeling to it. It feels really good. You can rub your hands across the back, and it won't slip on the table.
Wearables.
And it's got an 8-megapixel camera with a zoom lens built in.
And it has Google Now. That's the future, Google Now. Wow. I'm putting you on the bench. Now I get to do it.
In the morning.
Presidential proclamation came out, AGOA. And this is for immediate release to take certain actions under the African Growth and Opportunity Act and for other purposes. A proclamation by the Presidente of the United States. In Proclamation 8468 of December 23, 2009, I determined that the Republic of Madagascar was not making continual progress in meeting the requirements described in Section 506A, blah, 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 blah. Thus, pursuant to Section blah, 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 I terminated the designation of Madagascar as a beneficiary sub-Saharan African country for the purposes of this section. However, I'll skip ahead. Pursuant, I have determined that I now reauthorize the Madagascar and is now designated again as a beneficiary sub-Saharan African country. I always find these things interesting when, it's not like the president was sitting around thinking, hey, how's that Madagascar doing? Let me check on them. Oh, they seem to be doing better now. I think I shall put them back in the African Growth and Opportunity Act fund, which means giving them money and allowing money to flow there. But as a part of the same proclamation, the president says, in order to reflect in the HTS beginning January 1st, 2015, the Kingdom of Swaziland shall no longer be designated as a beneficiary sub-Saharan African country.
Huh. What did they do to us?
Well, so what do we do here at the No Agenda Show? We go to Faru.com and we type in Madagascar oil. That's the good way. It's always a good way to start. Lo and behold, it seems to be going very well with the oil business in Madagascar. There's lots of stories. 34% increase in revenues, 188% increase in output. This seems to be going very well with Madagascar. Madagascar is a very interesting it's an island off the east coast of Africa. And there's 22 million people there, and they pretty much eat dirt for a living. Now, this is a beautiful place to put a drone base. You can do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
They've got 119 wells. That's Eagle Ford Shale alone. Marathon Oil is drilling. Everybody's in there. Everybody's in Madagascar.
Well, they'll all share the wealth with the locals.
And then, of course, hello, locals. I'm sorry. Here's some dirt. But also, there's been some acquisitions in southern Madagascar's Block 3114. So this is not just because the president was sitting around and someone said, hey, those Madagascarians, they're doing much better. But now Swaziland needs to be punished. And of course, I did Swaziland oil. And did I come up with anything? No.
It has no?
No.
You didn't come up with, did you try Swaziland China?
No. I found it, though. I think I found it. They need to be punished because the 2022 FIFA World Cup Qatar scandal, or Qatar, has taken a new twist, as Swaziland has been listed among the countries implicated in the matter. This is a very big deal, and it's popping open as we speak, because Clinton was the guy who wanted to bring the 2022 World Cup to the United States, and of course, when Clinton gets out-corrupted, gazumped, as it were, then you're doing pretty good. And it turns out that Ben Hammond, this is kind of the spider in the web, he has been floating money to everybody, and all of these African countries also have a vote in where the games go. As it turns out, the Kingdom of Swaziland were intimately and intricately involved in the corruption, which is now bursting wide open. So I think first of all, we need to have some distance from Swaziland, and they need to be punished for not playing the game as we like it.
Right. We're the guys that you're supposed to be corrupt for, not those idiots.
Exactly. Jabronis.
Cutter.
So it's just, it's always interesting. And I hope that the younger folks who listen, kids, when you grow up and you read these things, you hear these things, and even I still have to stop myself and go, oh, wait a minute. Don't just blow past it and think, oh yeah, whatever. Go and look and find out that this is where the internet is your friend. It's always very interesting to see what is behind these types of things.
Yeah, and well, first of all, you got to recognize that you're being played.
All the time.
All the time. Not a little of the time, all the time. So I was watching France Van Cat, as I like to do, and there was a thing that cropped up on their little review of the web about what's going on in England, and I guess some parts of this is going on in France. And I because this has been in the news, you'll recognize it when you play. This is the internet. This is the clip that's called "Overlooked Meme is Worldwide." I didn't realize that this was a worldwide something going on meme that we've been played. It's been going on here, but I especially in California and some of these states, and I didn't think it was part of any worldwide conspiracy, but apparently it is, and now I realize, oh brother.
The NGOs Citizens UK and Share Action have started a campaign to raise the minimum wage, stating it's not enough to live on. They're targeting Britain's largest private sector employer, in particular, retailer Tesco, doctoring its price tags in stores to show £8.80, the amount they feel it should be paying employees. The movement has sparked much commentary online under the Living Wage hashtag. Campaign is indeed enjoying great success online. In addition to the multitude of posts and messages, there's also an online petition doing the rounds.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hashtag,
Living Wage.
Yeah.
So this is not like that's so cool. The feds are looking into a better minimum wage for employees. Oh, look, Massachusetts has just raised the minimum wage to the highest. Now they make it in the United States. We do it differently. We make it a competition. Oh, Massachusetts has the highest minimum wage after they signed this bill. We've got to be a higher one. So let's raise ours. But the whole thing is part of a worldwide movement. And large part of it seems to me, because they kept naming, was it Tedesco? The store chain there. This is like I think maybe some of these NGOs have gotten a clue during the off season, which is what it is for them because there's no elections. The off season of what we're going to do to get some money in here. Well, let's just do some extortion games.
I heard a term the other day, gongos. Was it gongos? Government organized non-governmental organization. Gongos. That makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense.
Which is kind of like Human Rights Watch.
Okay, well, that's an interesting. I don't know what's behind the meme, except
hello.
What I missed out was, here's what the clip I had, I never used, that I missed out on. I should have picked it up then, was when the head of the IMF, what's her name, Christine Lagarde, brought it up in one of her meetings. Just before she started talking about global warming, she talked about the minimum wage needs to be raised worldwide.
Wait a minute. How about the New World Order?
The New World Minimum Wage.
Order. No, it's not. Okay. Surprise, surprise. Is that?
No, I'm not surprised, but it's just like, oh, geez, it was so obvious. I should have picked it up right away. But it's like everything. There's just to your point. Everything that is fed to us over the news media is part of some giant setup to take our money.
In fact, yeah, it is. It is. Yeah. Okay. So.
I don't want to start with like the sound.
Yeah. Okay. And that's it. That's basically the premise of our show, everybody.
Yeah, you got it. Bye.
It's just a giant scam to take our money.
Well, there's also a giant scam going on to promote in ways I've never seen before, to promote the World Cup in the United States to get people interested in soccer. Now, I'm not sure. Again, now this is another one of those things. You don't know why, except to benefit a few major league soccer teams in the United States that can't be making any money, or just to keep the public more distracted, or because we have so many Latinos in the country, we got to keep them busy. But this was the joke of the whole thing. This is Marie Harf.
Yeah, I saw. If this is about her outfit, then I know what
actually, I left it. I took this out of Democracy Now! So the outfit could be discussed by our Democracy Now! Girl.
Do we need to set it up as what she was wearing, or was that explained in the clip?
It'll say in here, but okay. the setup to me is she's wearing this idiotic USA sweatshirt, and I was looking at it going, "What is this? What kind of a press conference is this?"
Yeah.
But it was so disrespectful because she was announcing the death of this woman activist in Libya, and she was lamenting her, how important she was to the turnover from Gaddafi into the modern era and all this other stuff. And meanwhile, she's wearing this joke costume.
USA. She should have had the big foam hand.
And then when what's her name from Democracy Now? Whose name? Amy Goodman, when she comes out and she describes the outfit, she never even calls her on this, what I thought was tasteless appearance during a solemn moment. But okay.
She was a courageous woman and a true Libyan patriot. She was an advocate for political prisoners during the Gaddafi regime, an organizer of demonstrations against the regime during the February 17th, 2011 revolution, a political activist, and an original member of the Transitional National Council after the uprising began. Salwa resigned in protest over the absence of women's voices in the council, but continued to play an active and powerful role supporting democracy, human rights, and the participation of women in Libyan politics until she was murdered on the day she and other Libyans went to the polls to elect a new government.
The State Department spokesperson, Marie Harf, wore a USA sweatshirt during the press conference as the U.S. team faced Germany in the World Cup. The U.S. lost 0-1, but still advanced to the next round.
Thanks for the update, Amy.
Couple things. What people don't realize, the main reason soccer is not a big sport in the United States is there's no breaks for commercials. There's this, so it's
a up continuous game.
Yeah, the only thing they have now, of course, is the electronic signs around the field, which change continuously. But that is still not the same as selling a $2 million Super Bowl spot. It's just not there. There's no halftime show. There's no cheer.
So you don't think it has anything to do with the fact that the game, to American taste, is extremely boring and slow moving?
No, in fact, I disagree with you. I think a lot of Americans really like the game. I think they enjoy playing it. It's very simple. It is unthinkable that every country in the world loves this sport, plays it actively, has active leagues. We have it as well, by the way. I mean, this goes back to the
we are in the World Cup.
Yeah, I know. But the Washington, was it the Nationals? No, what was their team? No, back in the day.
You're a real fan.
No, I was 10, but it's been around because I remember Johan Cruyff was hired by the Washington D.C. team, and of course Beckham. The Dutch guys ran all the L.A. team.
All right, okay, fine. I'll take it. You're right. It's fantastic. But it's only commercials. There's no ways. And we're ingenious. We can come up with some way to slip commercials in.
No.
I was noticing in NASCAR.
You can't actually do that.
More interesting game, even though they're going in a circle. The NASCAR guys will have what's called a competition yellow. I didn't know. I've never heard of this. Maybe it's new. I've followed the sport for a while and I never heard of this. But if the race keeps going and going and going and there's no wrecks, and people have to change their tires and get some gas, they can usually sneak into they'll sneak in off the pits, and then it's turned out then the guy sneaks in, it gets counted against him when he makes a pit stop, and when he gets back on, and then if they have a yellow, the guy's got screwed in the deal. So they now have these competition yellows where they figure, well, the guys look like they're probably running out of gas. Let's just throw a yellow flag up. And I think you could do the same thing with soccer.
Okay, so yeah, well, we could try, but that is. I'm just looking at the chat room. It was like, Curry's wrong. Dvorak's right on this one. Americans don't like it. No, believe me. The Americans will like anything as long as you can televise it. We like the freaking Kardashians. Give me a break. We'll watch any shit.
Well, that's a point well taken.
It just has to be commercialized in the right way. And because of the world nature of football, you can't just change the game in America. There would be like the Japanese, like they change baseball.
Designated flopper. The guy falls, and then they have to stop the game.
Yeah.
And then they kick him out. A new designated flopper comes in. They go for about 5-10 minutes.
That's the only cultural difference, and that's why it's complicated. But that's just our culture. If it's not on television, it might as well not exist. If it's on television, we're all in. That's the only difference.
Well, and you know what they can do? Here's another solution. Again, I'll go back to NASCAR as my example. The race is going on round. They're going around at 200 miles an hour. And they have it on Fox, they have it on ABC, they have this, they scatter it around, and then you'll be watching, and then they just go right to a commercial. Hell with it. The race doesn't stop. They just keep going around and around. You can do the same thing with soccer. No, Nothing is going on with soccer. It's a 0-0 game.
I have a better idea.
Just go to commercial, and if something happens, you can show the replay.
They fix this with tennis by just adding a 0 to the score. You hit 1, it's not 1, it's 10. Oh, okay, 10. They fix that.
That's just for the score, but that's been traditional with tennis.
The way we fix it, John, come on.
They didn't fix it.
The way we fix it is very simple. We need team mascots and we need cheerleaders. That would help a lot.
Actually, cheerleaders would benefit soccer.
I'm telling you, that would be good. And then when the play is
45 minutes into it.
No, when the play is boring, then we just cue the cheerleaders, and but we're not going to be like in the like the Tony Basil cheerleaders. No, these are going to be hot porn babes.
Yeah,
we got to outdo the cheerleader.
I think we've discussed enough soccer.
I do want to say something about Marie. From this same conference, she was asked a very tough question, and this is kind of a double whammy. Because Kerry, Watermelon Head Secretary of State, I'm not wearing a helmet because it might make me look non-presidential, John F. Kerry, said something very interesting, and he used a word that we have been trying to remove from our vocabulary unless it is warranted, as in it's actually the meaning of the word literal. And he used this word, and he got called on it. Here's the setup for this, President Kerry.
Ukraine.
I'm sorry, Secretary of State Kerry.
Ukraine, we are in full agreement that it is critical for Russia to show in the next hours, literally, that they're moving to help disarm the separatists, to encourage them to disarm, to call on them to lay down their weapons and begin to become part of a legitimate political process.
Putin!
He said literally a few hours, which the way you should take it is what? What is going to happen in a few hours? And there, of course,
can't even get the memo to the front lines in a few hours.
And there's our boy Matt from AP, who asked Marie Harf in her little band camp uniform what this is all about.
I'm curious if you can extrapolate a little bit or elaborate a little bit on what he meant when he said that Russia has hours, literally hours, to basically show goodwill, to move to disarm the separatists. What? Hours is less than days, clearly. What exactly happens if they don't meet this hours?
Well, a couple points
deadline?
on timing. The week-long ceasefire expires tomorrow. So that's partly what was driving the secretary when he was talking about timing. Also, the European Council is meeting tomorrow to discuss, among other things, possible additional sanctions against Russia. The secretary wasn't outlining specific timing for additional sanctions, but underscoring the need that this needs to happen quickly.
Gary!
Dancing.
Background here on what's going on with the EU and Ukraine. There was a good little report. This is just the opening part of the report. The whole thing is a little too long for the show. But play Ukraine in the EU so we know what kind of screwiness is going on that we're behind.
Ukraine's president traveled to Belgium on Friday to sign an historic free trade pact and political accord with the European Union. It's that same agreement that former leader Viktor Yanukovych had refused to sign in October, sparking months of political and social unrest. On Friday, similar accords were signed by Moldova and Georgia, allowing them access to economic integration with Western Europe and access to the EU's 500 million citizens. After signing, the Kremlin warned of grave consequences.
It's a little surprised that Ukraine signing an economic associations agreement with the European Union on Friday has irritated the Kremlin, and Moscow has warned of serious consequences of this move. And that's not just in relation to trade between Russia and Ukraine, but also in relation to the Ukrainian economy. And this has been reflected in Russia's state media, which has been reporting throughout the day on economic downfalls of this move, of this association, reporting on how Ukraine's goods are not up to the European standards and will not be able to compete with European goods. But nonetheless, of course, for many Ukrainians, this association means a step closer to their dream of one day joining the European Union.
Yeah, this is what was not an unexpected move. We knew it would happen. The 27th was what it was slated for. But this is, of course, forming the bloc against Russia, who are now, getting as close to China as possible. I actually have the Haiku Herman's little statement of this signing, if you want to hear the glorification of it.
Oh, yes.
I wholeheartedly welcome President Petro Poroshenko of Ukraine.
It's going to be so much more fun when Hella Thorne-Hellensen-Schickenlen is doing this instead of Haiku Herman, the selfie babe.
No, we're gonna miss the Haiku.
Oh, please!
And Haiku Herman is #1 soccer fan.
Prime Minister Irakli Garibashvili of Georgia and Prime Minister Yuri Yanka of the Republic of Moldova. We are here to sign the association agreements between the European Union and each of your countries. These are not just any other agreements.
Oh, no.
But milestones. In the history of our relations and for Europe as a whole.
Yeah, more like millstone, yeah.
In Kiev and elsewhere, people gave their lives for this closer link to the European Union. We will not forget them. I cannot conclude without referring to the very difficult security challenges that Ukraine is currently facing.
Whoa.
Nor to the uncertainty looming over relations between the Russian Federation and Georgia and Moldova. My first message is that the European Union stands by your side today more than ever before.
So this, of course, is because they can't become members of the EU. There's a long waiting list. And there's all kinds of rules and regulations. But as they say, association agreement, which we would say association agreement, but the association agreement is pretty much saying we will kill anyone on your behalf.
You have our support.
That's the support, is killing anyone on your behalf. The support.
And solidarity.
Hey.
And our recognition of your territorial integrity. My second message is that there is nothing in these agreements, nor in the European Union's approach, that might harm Russia in any way. The European Union stands ready to engage with Russia as much as need be.
Engage.
To dispel misunderstandings where they may exist.
Is that like Facebook engagement?
And to chart together a safer future for our common continent.
You guys are on the verge of starting a war.
Yeah.
Our union wants a stable European continent that we all share. Future generations in Ukraine, Moldova, and Georgia will remember this day.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I know one thing.
Yeah.
The hookers in Europe are going to be a lot better looking.
Oh, thank God. About time. Now, there are a lot of things happening here, and these, of course, are all in the show notes. Now, of course, most of this is about the gas. and it's all about trade.
Don't short sell the hookers.
I won't. Look, I've always said all war is about turf, resources, and hookers. That's what it's always about. That's what war is always fought over. So now we have this issue with Ukraine, but of course now we're talking Moldova. There's all kinds of pipelines are running everywhere, and the Russians are about to cut off. Of course, that's very difficult. They want to cut off the pipeline gas supply through Ukraine, but at the same time,
they don't pay their bills.
Yep. At the same time, they've been working very hard on creating the South Stream pipeline, which would go through the Caspian Sea. And then a lot of it's already in place, but Bulgaria was kind of in play about this. And the European Union the pipeline would go through Bulgaria. You have to look at the map, people, to understand what's going on here.
Oh, God.
But here's what's funny. So Bulgaria first, and by the way, everyone showed up in Bulgaria. Everyone did a little visit there. Yeah, you're not really going to let that pipeline go through here, are you? And Bulgaria's kind of like, yeah, well, we just might have to. What happens all of a sudden? Cyber attack, run on the bank. Bulgaria's under complete attack. Have you seen this?
Yeah. I wonder who's behind that. Must be the Chinese.
Who could it be? So there's, it's like, there's some, the banks are going out of business, that people are sending text messages around. It's complete terrorism. And it's very obvious. Hey, you don't want to play ball. You want to let that Putin thing go through here. You might have the cyber attack or some run on your banks, which is exactly what's happening. Turkey.
We're number one. Oh, by the way, it's halftime. 0-0. Go on.
No. Meanwhile, we'll just stay with people who are screwing people on our behalf. I got one of our producers, Sub70 is his handle. He's in Damascus, and he sends me notes all the time. He says he wished he could donate, by the way, but everything's been cut off. They can't use PayPal. They can't use Visa, MasterCard. It's like
this could happen here, by the way.
It could happen anywhere.
Yeah, they just shut down the system and say, "Hey, okay,
good luck.
Knuckle under."
Yeah, Bitcoin.
Yeah, good luck with even with the gold coins. Good luck with those gold coins.
Yeah. Bitcoin will work well, though. It'll be fine.
Sure, it will.
But I didn't know this, but Turkey has systematically been blocking the Euphrates River, stopping the flow, and Syria depends for a large portion, certainly the northern territories, on hydropower. And they've been out of power for hours a day, up to 6-7 hours per day, because the Turks are turning off the water.
I have not heard this.
No. Oh, gee. You figure it's underreported. That's what I said to Sub-70.
Well, everything's underreported.
Oh, my God. No one talks about this. But that is an absolute violation, even though I think human rights, the how these are used and how these are codified is bullcrap, and it's used to put our thinking onto other nations. But this is a violation. You can't just stop the water. So Turkey has been doing this systematically. I've got like 4 or 5 different stories I've been able to find about this.
Water war. Yeah. Turkey cuts water supply to Syria. A new Turkish aggression against Syria. Ankara suspends something. Water war. Turkey cuts water supply. We get the water war seems to be the meme.
Yeah. Water war.
Yeah, boy, yeah, this is it. Water war. Water war. Water war.
Yeah. Yeah.
Worthy news. Water war.
It's okay. We're doing the same to the poor in Detroit. If you can't pay your water bill, we cut you off. You don't need water, stupid slave. And there, of course, the United Nations is all up in arms.
In Detroit?
Yeah. You haven't heard about this, huh?
No, you think I would.
Residents of Detroit, Michigan, who are $150 or 2 months past due on their water bills are having their water shut off. Now even the United Nations has stepped in saying Detroit is in violation of the human right to water. Screw the Syrians.
Oh, this is another meme they're trying to start.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. No, it's
human right to water, human right. Well, tell that to the people in Ethiopia. Human right to education, human right to transportation. That'll be one of them.
Oh, yeah. So let's stay with Iraq for a moment then, since we're kind of in the region. And we can't beat this to death, but it's just uncanny, all the things that are happening. The main thing, of course, is President Obama put in his request. This is the $500 million for the fiscal year 2015 budget amendments, wherein he requests the overseas contingency operations, which we know is about $80 billion, $5 of which will be going directly to the counterterrorism fund for the partners. And of that, $500 million has been requested immediately to train the appropriately vetted moderate rebels. They couldn't come up with a better one?
Yeah, that is, I know. I heard this too, and I was thinking, this is like this money's burning a hole in our pocket. We just got to get it over there. Maybe it's just a shut up McCain.
Possibly. So, of course, I'm following the Institute for the Study of War, and they seem to. It's amazing how they do this. They have the ISIS battle plan for Baghdad right there on their website.
They're probably designing the battle plan for ISIS.
I think they pre-publish it.
Oh, yeah, they're one of our clients.
If you go to isismap.noagendanotes.com, isismap.noagendanotes.com, you'll see the map, and it's now clear the emirate of ISIS, or let's just call it Kurdistan, is set. It's beautiful to watch this. You'll see this on this map, isismap.noagendanotes.com. You got it?
It's good loading.
Okay.
All right, I'm looking at it now.
All right, so you see the ISIS control zones, which is kind of the outline of Kurdistan, and then the attack zones and the support zones. This is the emirate. It's beautifully outlined. And but there at the top is the border with Turkey. There's no fighting going on there because they're our buddies. And here it is. It's perfectly outlined. It goes all the way up to Aleppo, and then up to the north. So we get to the port of Ceyhan, and we can get the oil out.
Yeah, it's like just a nice looking little country.
It's a beautiful country. Israel said, where is this? I had a great quote. Israel says, disintegration in Iraq may lead to independent Kurdish state. Oh, really? This is exactly what it's supposed to be. And this will be off the map. Pretty soon we won't be talking about this. But you are correct in your assumption of the term Al-Qaeda army. And they're getting ready for it. This was Morning Joe, Mika Brzezinski, daughter of the grand chessboard guy, and here she's talking about what is happening.
There are new reports ISIS militants have joined forces with Al-Qaeda, extremist group, potentially doubling their number of forces. It could be further pressure of the Obama administration to carry out airstrikes, something the White House says can be done without congressional approval. Joining us now.
There you go. So ISIS merges with Al-Qaeda. They even said it right there in the lower third, merging.
Huh. I wonder who put that deal together. What kind of stock options were going out to these guys?
Can't we do like the Hollywood Stock Exchange that Max Kaiser did? We could just do the Al-Qaeda Stock Exchange. Just who's going to get folded in.
Knocking at the door.
Who's going to get
you guys don't understand what we're trying to do. Yes, we do.
Yeah, we know. We understand.
Come with us.
Yeah. So not much of a change other than the money is now being loosened, and it will be interesting to see who votes for this for the overseas what the OCO, what they call it.
I don't know.
Name. No, the overseas contingency operations.
Yeah, that.
I'm presuming that everybody will be all in and say, yeah, we got to get that quick because babies, they're recruiting teens.
Right, they're recruiting kids. Coney to 2012.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
All right. I got some stuff here that might be good.
There's plenty of stuff going. All right, I'll do one. Just because.
I got a segue one. That's perfect because it's got no connection to anything else, and it's a good way to make a break.
Good.
I just thought this was a funny commercial. This is this is an ambulance chaser commercial for something I'm not that familiar with, but I've heard of it. Risperdal.
Oh, I think we've talked about this, haven't we?
Yeah, but we haven't talked about this. I don't think I played this commercial.
Can we play it now?
Yeah.
Have you or your son taken the antipsychotic drug Risperdal? Recent discoveries have uncovered a possible link between Risperdal and gynecomastia, the development of breasts in men and adolescents.
Woo!
If you develop breasts after taking Risperdal, take action fast. You may be entitled to significant compensation. Call our network of attorneys right now for a free, no-risk evaluation of your claim. Many cases have already been settled out of court.
Yeah.
So call us right now. Call the number on your screen today and get the relief you deserve.
So I think apparently the compensation is a garter belt with a bunch of ones stuck in it.
Oh, yeah. Hey.
In the morning.
Really? Do you have writers now, or how does that work? What is Risperdal? What is it? What is the drug
It's
for?
antipsychotic.
And you can develop breasts.
Apparently.
That's nuts.
Woo!
Well,
that won't make you crazy.
Well, that fits right into that. Must be one of the new tools that the police are using to determine the crazy people, so we can get to them before they go and shoot up schools and kill people.
A troubled woman whose identity we've obscured is gently escorted from her home. No handcuffs. A neighbor said the woman had stopped taking her meds and she's been getting worse.
This, by the way, the meds meme is very disturbing to me.
That bothers me too, and it's always the word meds.
I don't like it.
This stems from the same I don't know force, the same force that came up with veggies.
And
you didn't eat your veggies.
Yeah,
you didn't take your meds.
I don't.
It's all like for 3-year-olds.
I have because I know Miss Mickey is listening, and she says this all the time. And I don't say anything about it because, you know, she's Dutch. You know, I'm not going to get in her face. I know she doesn't mean it that way, but I can't. She's going to be like, what? You didn't tell me that. But she said and we're just vitamins. You know, like she said, oh, did you take your meds? And I go, ugh. But it's a thing now. It's like a. Didn't we get a note from
meme? It's a big time meme.
I think we got a note from a teacher a while back who was talking about his class. He said at least 40% of his class is on some form of antipsychotics or Adderall or whatever ADHD medication, and the kids are all in the class talking about, have you taken your meds yet, man? No, I'm taking my meds. It's like it's dumbing it down to the level of veggies. I agree. So, and it's probably on purpose. It's probably a marketing trick.
You think?
Whose identity we've obscured is gently escorted from her home. No handcuffs. A neighbor said the woman had stopped taking her meds and she's been getting worse, tossing away all her belongings, sitting outside naked and issuing threats, which the neighbor said he didn't take all that seriously. But in Tucson, the Pima County Sheriff's Department's MIST unit, the Mental Health Support Team.
Now listen to this, the Mental Health Support Team, the MIST unit. Oh, we have something new.
Takes every threat seriously. And when detectives like Maria Stengel hear from any source that someone is on the verge of violence,
it's truly a job right now for her not to commit suicide.
They move. And now, armed with everything known about a subject,
paranoid and delusional, not on her meds.
A new...
Again, you hear that? The meds?
Yep. Arizona law says the individual can be brought in voluntarily to a mental health crisis response center.
I'm not quite sure what that means. Someone could be brought in voluntarily. It sounded a little bit, she's in handcuffs.
Play that again. Let's dissect it a little more.
Yeah. And remember, you're watching a segment about a woman in handcuffs.
New Arizona law says the individual can be brought in voluntarily to a mental health crisis response center.
That sounded like it wasn't so voluntary the way he said it.
No, in fact, but I think they're misusing the word on purpose.
Paranoid and delusional, not on her meds.
Delusional, not on her meds.
A new Arizona law says the individual can be brought in voluntarily to a mental health crisis response center.
I think they're adjusting the word voluntary.
I agree. Yeah.
No, seriously. They say, well, you got to come in. Well, I don't want to come in. Well, we're going to take
Don't worry, it's voluntary. It's voluntary. Oh, okay.
Without a warrant or court order or visible evidence of danger.
That, I think, is what voluntary means. Without a warrant.
Are we preventing crime? I think we are.
Oh. If they are, it's also because they roll with more information than many of their counterparts elsewhere.
They roll. You roll.
That's another term I hate. And that's how I roll.
And it will
What do you mean you roll? Are you walking? Are you walking? You're driving? You're rolling.
I can't remember where, but I have a clip where that pops up again. We'll find
information than many of their counterparts elsewhere, like the deputies in Santa Barbara who didn't know about Elliot Rogers' legal gun purchases and had not seen his alarming online postings when they visited him at his mother's request 3 weeks before his May rampage. They missed his true murderous intentions.
Crisis line.
Here, they respond to hundreds of mental health calls every month. The goal, not arrest, but involuntary mental health first aid.
Did he say voluntary or involuntary?
That time it was involuntary.
I agree. I think he said this is what it's supposed to be, is involuntary.
Voluntary mental health.
Oh, sorry, I'm back a little bit more.
That would be more correct.
I agree.
You could be
The
taken
goal,
in
not
involuntarily
arrest,
without
but
a warrant.
involuntary.
Sorry, say again?
That's what we should have said before. Involuntary, you can be taken in without a warrant involuntarily.
I just got a text from Mickey. I only say take your meds because it's a jingle on your show, damn it.
She's irked with you now. That's no fun for you tonight.
Just take your medicine. Just take your medicine.
I love you, darling.
True murderous intentions.
Crisis line.
Here, they respond to hundreds of mental health calls every month. The goal, not arrest, but involuntary mental health first aid to get a troubled individual past the potential explosion point and into treatment.
We do know that we've intervened where potentially there could be violent acts perpetrated.
Violent acts like the guns and explosives ambush a man threatened against the police. This time the father had gotten a court order. The guns never went off. The son remains in outpatient treatment. The new law, plus unprecedented data sharing by every law enforcement and mental health stakeholder in Pima County.
Woohoo! That sounds groovy.
Aims to make the next Jared Loughner far less likely to slip through the cracks.
Interesting, they went from Santa Barbara to Jared Loughner in one fell swoop. Of course, this was in Arizona.
Is this CBS?
I think it would have been.
Sounds like a CBS.
No, it's a local. I think it was.
It was a package though. That was a package somebody did professionally. Yeah. That's no local package.
No,
it's too long.
It's a good package. But I like the mix up of voluntary and involuntary, uninvoluntary meds. They've gone off her meds, refused taking your meds. And these are
this meme refused to take the meds.
Yeah.
Has been cropping up a lot on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it does have to do with forced medication.
Yeah.
Where they can give you shots or whatever, whether you like it or not. Usually in the neck.
Well, Haldol in the neck.
Yeah.
That's already here. That's called vaccinations. It's already a fact of life. You have a kid now, your kid is going to be vaccinated. There's no two ways about it.
Well, there's a good reason for these vaccinations, Adam.
Yeah?
To prevent worldwide pandemic. As shown on the new show, I think it's ABC, Michael Bay's The Last Ship.
What is this? This is a program?
Yeah, this just came out. It's just, I think, premiered yesterday. And,
7 months ago.
You want me to play it?
We'll play this is, I have to set it up. This is Last Ship. But this is the woman explaining why she's on this ship and all hell's breaking loose. And this guy, again, they're wondering why the Russians attacked the ship.
7 months ago outside Cairo, there was an outbreak. A virus of unknown origin. Its genetic structure was like nothing any of us had ever seen.
Why, is this a movie script? What is this?
This is a TV show by Michael Bay.
Okay.
It swept throughout the village.
It could have been a local news report. That's the way they talk, too.
I know. That's what's so funny about this.
Everyone that it infected. Egyptian officials claimed the outbreak was contained, but it wasn't. Instead, it continued to mutate and spread. The CDC and the WHO wanted to sample the virus from the victims to create a vaccine. But nothing worked. It was my belief that we needed to find the primordial strain here in the Arctic.
The birds.
They're just the carriers.
Birds.
They pick up the virus from the melting permafrost. We finally found their feet.
Melting permafrost.
In ground.
So you have what you need to stop this thing.
I won't know until we get it back to the lab. We're running out of time. The virus back home is moving quicker than any of us could have imagined.
How would you know that? We've been radio silent since we left Norfolk.
Because I have my own sat phone.
Oh.
We were at MCON, so no one would know our position.
We were at MCON to protect my mission, not yours.
Yeah, this is a meme that I have something for that as well. I don't know. You want to? Is clip 2? Is
well,
there
I do
something
have
there?
clip 2, which kind of wraps it up.
Yeah, cool.
Because it has a nice punchline. But let me mention a couple of things. One, incorporated within the script is the implication that global warming has caused this problem, by the way, because the melting permafrost, which apparently is not perma. Also, we might as well slip in the fact that Egypt lies.
Yeah, well, duh.
So I assume that this is a meme fest of a TV series.
Yeah, but I have some example of this for another entertainment property. What is the second clip?
This just plays it out.
Orders came from the White House.
Well, you led the Russians right to us.
No.
And endangered my entire crew.
It was imperative that I stay in contact with the labs back home to keep them informed of my progress. I don't think you understand what we're talking about here.
Enlighten me.
When we left Norfolk, the virus was at phase 2. Limited to small clusters in Asia and Africa. We are now at phase 6.
Oh.
Global pandemic. Woohoo! 80% of the world's population is infected. The world is sick, Captain Chandler. Very sick.
Are you telling me the whole world is dying and they send 2 people to save it?
It took weeks to convince the government to even send me here. Most of my colleagues think that I'm insane.
Are you?
I told you that what's in that case might be the only hope that we have.
Captain, we have the President of the United States on the VidCon.
Woohoo! On the VidCon.
On the VidCon.
I got the President of the United States on the VidCon. Yeah.
Okay, so we got a lot of stuff going on in this story, and we have one of the top action adventure directors ever doing it, so it's going to be lively. And it'll be slipping propaganda in like there's no tomorrow. This is going to be a horrible show.
Let me bring another piece to this. This is, and I'm going to play it backwards. Actually, a couple weeks ago we had big tornadoes in Nebraska, and I think there was no one was killed. There may have been a very low casualty count, but of course there was always damage. And this video was circulating the net of some storm chasers.
This one and probably about 1.5 miles from that one. Those two are coming together, see that? Look at that, getting big. Oh, look. The third one coming? I am satisfied right here. This is beautiful. Man, we're getting pretty close. Wow, it's sucking that other tornado right into it. But look how fast it moved. It was going slow until it got close and it got sucked into the rotation.
So this was the double tornado. Now, I'm going to presume that this was real. I read everywhere in Reuters and other publications, very rare to have double tornado.
They have them every year, and there's triples.
Well, enter the new movie coming out in a few weeks, Into the Storm. Here's a bit of the trailer.
I leave you with Henry David Thoreau's words. Go confidently in the direction of your dreams. Live the life you have imagined. We salute you! Please move inside in an orderly fashion. Here we go. All the way to the back. Get away from the window. Get down. Face the wall. Cover your head. Stay down. Get down, everybody. Take cover.
It was close. Dude, my arm hurts.
All the warning sirens are down. If a tornado's coming your way, you're not going to know it.
Hey, guys, it's splitting.
There's another one. There's 3, 4. They're everywhere.
They're everywhere. We're all going to die.
Coincidence? I don't know. Maybe it's just coincidence.
I think not.
But of course, now this is unprecedented. They say these double was never seen before. And then we get this trailer where they're splitting. It's 3. It's 4.
Oh, they're breeding. They're breeding.
They're everywhere. And by the way, whoever that was in the chat room, you don't need, when we make a joke about vaccines, or, we have done so much on this show about vaccines, so much. In fact, years ago, we uncovered that the pharmaceutical companies, from their financial documents and presentations, were betting their entire pipeline, their entire future on vaccinations, because they knew that they cannot be sued by anyone under statutory law in the United States. And
once that law passed, they were all in. That's where you had all kinds of they're calling everything a vaccine.
Right.
And the reason they call everything a vaccine, like the anti-smoking vaccine, smoking is not a disease.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
So they have anti-smoke, so you can't get sued for that either because it's a vaccine.
Right. So then what I get is, I encourage Adam to see some children who have autism. It's really fucked up. It's not funny. The glibness has to stop. No, please. Okay.
Somebody said the glibness
has to stop. Yeah.
Who the fuck does that asshole think he is?
Well, he's about to get kicked out of the chat room. That's for sure. Yeah, exactly. I had to say it because it just made me a little mad. Like, really? If anyone is not glib about this stuff, we got to make fun of things. What do you want?
Enough. You're giving the guy too much time.
Yeah, you're right. Breathe. Okay, much better. This is a big movie, though. This is a big-ass director who's done big disaster movies. And this is, now that we've tried everything, and it just doesn't get the traction. It's obvious that we now have to just put the money into Hollywood. That's the only way people will really believe it's going to happen.
I think that's what the new last
TV
ship
show.
is all
Yes,
about.
yes.
Because it's like, the genius of it is it allows the viewer to put two and two together. You get the wrong answer, but you put two and two together because of this thing. What? Because they start thinking of permafrost is melting.
Permafrost.
There's permafrost. And that's where all this horrible diseases come from, because the birds, I guess cold weather birds, they go into the permafrost and they need a drink, I guess.
But
they
think
drink
of
some of the water, they get this virus, and then they poop it over on Egypt, and the Egyptians lie.
But think of the genius, how they've been talking for years now. Oh, they're thawing out the 1918 plague victims' bodies. They're thawing out the virus. It could get loose. This is all, and it's this, by the way, if there is such a thing as human rights, this is a gross violation of everyone's human rights. The way the entertainment business, which is the same as the news business, are terrorizing people. Terrorizing. You need to opt out. You really do. You just need to stop watching. Go out and have some fun, which is what we tried to do yesterday and today. The annual event of the Amateur Radio Relay League, John, known as
The annual event.
Field Day.
Field Day.
That's right. And on Field Day, traditionally...
Well, since I can't get my little device to work.
On Field Day, traditionally, we go out with our go bag. And we, members of the ARRL, and you're not allowed to have any conventional means of power or communication. So no cell phone, which is easy for me. I don't have one. And no, you can only use batteries, generators, solar, anything that would work in a crisis. And it's a lot of fun. And of course, you have minimal power. Although it's not actually all that fun anymore because now everyone's doing it. It's a big mess. Big mess of everyone. Hey! Field day.
You go into the field? I'm not understanding this.
Yeah, you actually go into field, and we were going to go to...
what do you mean into field?
Yeah, fields, parks, fields, nature, streams, camping grounds.
Backyards, maybe?
Well, that's where I wound up, because I'm doing my field day in the backyard.
Well...
It's valid. And the weather, we had gale force winds yesterday. I'm like, a field day or not, we're not going. Went and bought a washing machine. But this, of course, is where it is proof that amateur radio could one day save your life. Of course, this is now being talked down upon as we are a bunch of nutcases. There was this.
How's that work?
Well, if
amateur radio enthusiasts are largely not nutcases.
No, I disagree.
You think most of them are nutcases?
We're not nutcases. We're just not. We're not your normal guys. When someone's walking around with, vinyl jackets with emergency.
The same thing about coders.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of overlap. There's this guy who was arrested in, I want to say, was it Florida? And they called him the Doomsday Prepper. So this poor schmuck, he had guns and, whatever. He's collecting stuff. He was an archivist. And then I guess someone, and then, someone said, "Oh, he wants to kill police agents." This little report, which I've had for a couple of shows, includes a number of things. So, Doomsday Prepper, not just Prepper, but Doomsday Prepper.
Well, Doomsday Prepper was the name of a show on television.
Okay, But then, oh, that's funny. Okay.
It was called Doomsday
Yeah, you're right.
Preppers,
You're right.
and there was all these hardcore preppers.
Right. Well, that's apparently your nut job. I mean, you have to be arrested. And there's also a strong F religion in here, which is also a part. I guess if you're a prepper, then you're a religious kook. You believe the earth was only 6,000 years old. And, of course, you're a Republican, too, probably.
Unanimously, they call it the worst week of their entire lives. See, while the world may know Martin Winters as the Doomsday Prepper, his daughters just know him as Dad.
That's not our father. He's not a violent person.
And it's not just them saying it. Tonight, more than 100 people gathered to show their support.
Amen.
Amen.
I love that. They gathered to show their report. Amen. Amen. Crazy religious people. You see, you got to be scared of them.
As the man they know as Marty is simply misunderstood.
I think they took the whole context of him being prepared and twisted it.
They say their dad never spoke about killing government agents, nor is he the leader of the River Otter Preppers. So we asked why then would he run?
My personal opinion is I believe when they approached him and they had guns to his vehicle and his grandchildren were in there,
he reacted.
And now it's their turn, but all they can do is pray.
We just want
pray.
Back.
Winters did plead not guilty.
I love it. All they can do is pray. No, they have legal recourse. A lot of things they can do, but no, all they can do is pray.
In court, he's accused of making destructive devices without a permit, stockpiling weapons, and threatening to kill government agents.
Please.
All they can do is pray. Now that you mention it, is an interesting nihilist meme to throw out to people. All you can do is pray. In other words, you can't.
You have no
win.
recourse. Yeah, you
can't win.
You can't win against the state. Your God is no good against the state. Yeah, it's annoying. Very, very annoying.
Yeah, it's very depressing.
Because I'm only one destructive device away from being a doomsday prepper, whatever that is. I mean, it could be a Roman candle for all I know. There's a lot of
Roman candle. You take a razor blade and cut a Roman candle open and start doing some stuff with the gobs of goo inside, and it's powder. And you next thing you know, you're in jail. Well, I'm sure that would be illegal.
There's so much.
I got an oddball clip here.
Should we take one moment?
Yeah, we should. Didn't I play my oddball?
Yeah, because I would like to just to say for a second here. I would like to say thank you for your courage, and in the morning to you, John C. Dvorak.
Well, in the morning to you, Adam Curry. In the morning to all ships at sea, boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, and all the dames and knights out there.
And in the morning to everyone in the chat room, noagendastream.com, noagendachat.net, where there's now a raging debate. You should never be kicked out of the No Agenda chat room. Freedom of speech for all.
No, you should be kicked out of the chat. You're a jerk.
And in the morning to all of our artists, thank you, 20-watt bulb. Hits it again with the art for episode 629er. This was a good one.
This is a very good one. A lot of people tweeted about it. It was so good. I would say this, that we're suspicious.
That it may be someone else who's...
Of Mr. Bulb.
Yeah, coming in under an assumed name.
Yes.
It doesn't really matter. I mean...
No, it doesn't matter to me. Maybe he wants to be this new guy. Yeah. But it could. We're suspicious because it's already... You don't shoot to the top like this without having some experience in the...
Well, what's interesting, I saw people saying, I thought this was the worst album art ever until I heard the show. Then it was the best album art ever. And that's
what spot art does. It's supposed to enhance.
Exactly. This is the Ben's email backup floppy disk number 33. This is just, I mean, that was...
Even if you didn't hear the show, it's a funny looking piece of work.
I think his first name may have been Ben.
So a guy named Ben, a dude named Ben.
Exactly.
A dude named Ben.
Yeah, and coming up, we have several emails from dudes named Ben regarding the facts behind corporate email systems.
This will be good.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. No, it's not amazing. It's
amazing.
It's heartwarming to see all of the IT admins checking in and giving us, their personal experience. And we have them from large Fortune 500 companies, government facilities, Pentagon, all kinds of stuff. And they're all named Ben, funny enough. It's just crazy how that works. Yes. Before we get to our first cash donor, we need to thank Sir Jonorama who is our official ham knight. Am I right with this name here? Is this all right?
I don't have the note in front of me.
Yeah. He sent you your ICOM ID 51.
Oh, no, yeah. Right. He's our ham guy.
Yeah. So he's on the list for today.
Right. Yes, for sending the device.
Yeah, which we still have to get it to work.
Yeah, it's supposed to be easy, but it seems to be as complex as everything else. And again, you know, I'm asking, Adam's walking me through because he's got these things running, and I'm asking the dumb questions like, why doesn't it do this? Why doesn't it do that? And he can't answer any of the dumb questions.
Well,
because it's like, why isn't there an error message? Why isn't there a simple error message? That would be fine.
No, I can't. That's the politics.
You have to double click on certain things that you can single click seems to do.
It never ceases to confound me, the politics of amateur radio. And it's jihadism, this stuff. And D-Star is a whole new level of just political jihadism. I'm telling you, there's the open source guys, there's the D+ guys, the X Reflector guys, the Raspberry Pi versus it goes on.
This is a fractal, of course, of this sort of thing. Wikipedia being one example, where somebody gets there is someone who dogs certain pages, and they have RSS that comes to them when somebody goes. This is what happens when you try to change a page of an important page, and you change some piece of information. Immediately, the guy who's the dog that's constantly watching the page will get an RSS feed. Oh no, that can't be. That's not right. There's no verification of this. And they'll go in and change it back. And so the stuff gets changed back and forth and back and forth. And this happens. I don't know who's doing the No Agenda page. A lot of these people are anonymous. But I remember the time where somebody got a hair up their ass and decided just to take all the information off the page, you know, about our memes and some of the themes that we discuss and the rest of it. And kind of a glossary of what we mean when we say certain things.
Mm-hmm. That was all gone?
No, it was gone. If you remember, this was like, I don't know, around show 200. And I bitched about it. I said, this is terrible. They've ruined the page. And the guy who was back in a minute. So they do take criticism, you know, did this kind of offhanded thing. But the same things with the ham community. That's why I think my complaining or certain kinds of, and you in particular, complain about certain things. Like why if I can hit the repeater, but I don't have the credentials to talk to the repeater, why doesn't the repeater send me a message telling me that, saying, you do not have the credentials to talk to me, go away.
Go register or something.
Or go register or anything.
Yeah.
Or why with a DCOM device or the...
Well, I'll tell you why. It's for the same reason. Now, I run my own email server, so, you know, and I'm watching the logs and everything. It's fun. Once you set it up, it kind of runs by itself, and I have to do some maintenance, but very, very little. And I don't really have to think about it. But then the other day, someone sent me an email and said, I'm sending this from my Gmail account because when I sent it to you, I got an error message saying, mail denied, go away, bad guy. And it happened to be a female who was sending me this. And she really didn't understand it. And so of course, now I'm looking into it.
Go away, bad guy.
This is an actual message.
Did you put it in?
No. This is a part of the, I think it's the proc mail or send mail. I don't know which one it is. Postfix. I'm sorry. It's Postfix. And when someone hits your email server with a misconfigured email domain, such that maybe they don't have reverse DNS set up properly.
There's something that, there's always little errors.
But there's something there's a number of reasons you can get this particular error. But the message that the server sends, which apparently is slipping through into the actual rejection message, is go away, bad guy. And it's so unhelpful. This is not, if it said, hey, something's misconfigured, whoever's running an email server, why don't you have them check this? You can't have a .local as your, there's all kinds of little things. But, and this is very typical. This is very typical of, maybe it's when it's open source, open community, or whatever it is. People like to do these little things that make no sense.
It's juvenile.
Yeah, it's not helpful. And here I am, a guy just I'm trying to be Ben. I'm just trying to make stuff work and try and be a part of the solution. And I have to go Googling, what does this mean? And there's, it was like,
go away,
bad guy. And I know lots of dudes named Ben are smiling because they know that they've all seen this error message. And it's just not helpful.
Yeah. Well, that's the kind of glib we don't need.
Exactly.
So let's thank a few people, including at the top of the list.
And here it is, another donation from the Grand Duke of the USA, Sir David Foley.
We got now one. We got two jingles. Since we've been so late.
The jingle,
huh?
We've been begging for a Foley jingle.
Now here's the second one.
Citizens of Devoted Nation, please rise to recognize another contribution from the Grand Duke of USA himself,
David. There you go.
Well, the first part of that one sounds like the Cylons took over the show, which I'm not so happy with. But yeah, okay. Well, you can put him, I guess, in rotation. Put him in the rotation.
I'll put him in the hot rotation bin, John.
Good. I'm glad we got something. So we'll probably be hearing those a lot until it turns out that.
Hold on a second. Hold on. You have not informed me of the score. Apparently, Mexico is 1-0.
Oh, you got me. Oh, somebody in the chat room. Oh, here it is. It's because I got. Oh yeah, no, it's on the screen. I just didn't have the screen up. Well, we're 71 minutes into the game, and the score is Mexico 1, Netherlands 0.
Oh, boy.
Very exciting game. Very exciting game. They're kicking the ball.
Move onward. We got stuff to talk about today. Go on.
David Foley, 333 Los Gatos, the cat, California. ITM, gentlemen, enclosed. Please find some value for value. Thanks for your great work on the Dude Ben's missing floppy drives. Send some of that great no agenda karma my way, please.
Dude named Ben.
You've got karma.
Very nice.
We are sole executive producer for show 670.
Oh.
Or 630.
Well, no. He's along with our Sir Jonah Rosso.
Rosso, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. He's also an executive producer, but he's the sole monetary one on this spreadsheet.
Yes. True.
Yeah.
True.
Sir Michael Schumacher in Kelseyville, California. 23456, which is when I should probably formula or institutionalize these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Long email sent to Adam@curry.com. Thanks for hitting him in the mouth, Sir Mike, formerly of Rancho Cucamonga, now of Kelseyville.
Am I supposed to be reading something?
Well, he sent you a note to Adam@curry.com.
No, I know, but does that mean there's
generally? Well, I don't know. You take a look and see if it's for the show or it's for you.
But I try to respond. I don't remember getting any email from him, actually. Shoemaker, right? Yeah. No.
Schumacher.
I don't know. Send it again, Michael.
And we'll read it later. Christopher Heffley in Galion, Ohio, $200. I'm very happy.
We did miss that. Michael's donation brings him to Baronet. He'd be like to be known as Baronet of Lake County. Do you get to choose a protectorate when you're Baronet, or is that only when you're a Baron?
Baron of?
Right, but he's a Baronet.
He's already a Baron. He's never chose his protectorate. He decided to go to Baronet first.
No, he says donation should bring me to Baronet.
Yeah. Isn't Baronet after Baron?
No, Baronet is before. Who's in charge of the peerage here?
I don't have my list in front of me. I'm pretty sure Baron is 3X and Baronet is 4.
Oh, well, this is news to me. I thought, all right, well, whatever.
Well, it's not Baronet doesn't mean you're a little Baron.
Your head shall be off with his head.
You missed because he's too small as a Baronet. Whatever the case is, he's of the Lake County's fine. Believe me, no one else is going to take Lake County. No. They make good wine, though.
No worries.
Christopher Heffley in Galion, Ohio, $200. I'm very happy with this donation today. Finally reached my knighthood.
Very nice.
It happens to fall on my birthday. Makes it even better. Do we have him on the birthday list and the night list?
We do.
If someone told me a year ago that I would have donated this much to a podcast, I would have asked them where's the crack house that they came out of. Having said that, I wonder if I donated enough, seeing the hours of infotainment you two have provided me since being hit in the mouth 2 years ago. I love the show so much that I had to go buy a brand new iPod since my old one kept taking a shit and would not charge. Thus, I was not able to get my No Agenda fix. That's a piece of crap.
You hear about the podcast app started crashing all of a sudden on everybody?
Maybe. I don't know. He says it wouldn't take a charge. You two even help move the economy along. I would obviously like a birthday shout out for myself as well as for my beautiful daughter. You got her on there?
I think so.
Daughter Jersey.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Looking forward to the fun teen years. Yeah, yes. You're going to get a kick out of it.
Yeah, I got her.
I would love I won't go into it. I would love a karma for all as well as the amazing jingle. You two are the best. Thank you for all you do. By the way, I want to call on Peter C. Norwood to get his knighthood now, since he is the one who hit me in the mouth. All right.
And so you wanted to...
Oh my God, that is amazing!
You've got karma.
I can't help it.
It does make you laugh.
It really does. That's
Sir Siswell in Toronto, Ontario, $200. Baronet of Upper Scandinavia, actually. ITM Alan Baghdadi. Here's hoping you actually use my moniker instead of my real name this time. Sir AJ is waiting for you to say it before updating the peerage map. Your anal cis has been spot on.
It's analysis.
Analysis. Oh, analysis. That's cute.
That's cute.
It's been spot on. I must return value. Siswell signing off.
Perfect.
Eric Von Martyr in Van Nuys, California, sent a note in handwritten longhand.
Oh, nice.
On composition paper torn out of one of those spiral binders torn out.
Oh, nice.
3 holes and then a bunch of little holes. So he's taking stuff from his schooling, I guess. No, he says his handwriting needs work. Take a calligraphy course, Eric. I need de-douching, I guess. Been listening since Adam's story about meeting that lady in the line, green dress, remember? Still makes me laugh. Thank you for your hard work and devotion. Karma for all.
What is the lady in the lime green dress story?
Lady in the lime green dress, remember? Still makes him laugh.
You've been de-douched.
Alrighty then.
You've got karma.
I'll just roll with it.
Just roll, my friend, roll.
Rolling.
And finally, last but not least, our last associate executive producer, Mark Milliman. Sir Mark Milliman, I believe, in Belgium.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, he's not in Belgium.
No, not Belgium.
Belgium. He's in Longmont, Colorado.
Yes,
which is where he just came in as a check. It's easier. You don't have to actually put the joint down and compose anything. You just let the bank do the work. It's a joke.
Yeah, it's not a good one.
No. I'm sorry. Sorry, Mark. Anyway, that's it. That's our group. I want to remind people that we have a show on Thursday. This was a good group of producers. But Dvorak.org/NA is a good place to go to help us for Thursday. Also, channeldvorak.com/NA. No Agenda Show and No Agenda Nation both have buttons you can click off on for alternative donation lists. And I'll be upgrading and updating the Dvorak.org/NA page this week.
Excelente. And of course, these are very real credits, these executive producer and associate executive producer credits. You can use them anywhere credits are recognized. You can use them at the Producers Guild if you want. I know people who have done that. You can use them on LinkedIn. You can use them on your CV, your resume. And unlike the phonies in Hollywood, we will gladly vouch for you.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Besides monetary contributions, we are very happy with you going out there and propagating our formula.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Shut up, slave.
John, I got got a note from somebody. Note from somebody. Yes, I did.
Open the mailbag.
From Morgan. And detected an abnormality. Now, you're a big microphone guy. We haven't really talked about this on the show, and the reason why is because I'm afraid to get you started. John has an unhealthy obsession with microphones. This is a new one today that he called me yesterday on the Skype. I just have, and it wasn't even. I had my regular Skype on, and you called. But it's very strange. I'm like, hey, how does this mic sound? Well, I'm going to switch it from cardioid to whatever.
Unidirectional.
I'm going to roll off 10B.
I got an 8. I got a figure 8 with this dual capsule.
I have to say that I like the sound of this mic. I really do. This is a good sound. But you have different mics and with different characteristics. Do you recall on the last show you got a phone call?
Yeah.
And it was some bull crap about what was it? About your just lower your credit card payments.
Right. It was Rachel or somebody calling me.
Right.
So this is what Elizabeth Warren was supposed to put a stop to, but good work, Liz.
So Morgan says, oh my goodness, Adam, listen, time code 22.04. And this is right as you're hanging up the phone and coming back from this phone call back to the program, and I'm talking, and we had to do some actual CSI work on this.
Yep.
All right. So my analysis, and this is a pretty heady document, and I had to Google a lot, and I spent a lot of time on it. Aha. Stop. Rotate. Enhance. John, did you break wind on the show?
No.
Yes, you did.
No.
Yes, you did. Are you kidding me? This is so clear that you... Come on, what is that?
I don't know, but it's not...
John.
The mic's not that good.
Yeah, it is. I'm telling you. It's so obvious. Spent a lot of time on it.
That's what I did. I don't remember it, but I'll just take your word for it, Mr. Investigator.
Come on, man. There's nothing funnier than a good fart.
Yeah, but I know. But the problem with that theory is that it could have been anything making that noise because you have no idea from here to the phone what's in between.
Well, then what?
Because I haven't upgraded my archival duties, and so it's like a lot of stuff that falls over.
What is that? Well, I'll take your word for it if it's not.
You send me the whole clip, and I'll figure it out. Doesn't even sound like a fart.
Well, it's heavily processed. Obviously. Hello. Our good buddy Reverend Manning is back with an analysis and a new meme for us regarding the Supreme Court of the United States cell phone search, which he also, of course, immediately identified this as bogative, meaning it only takes 15 minutes now for law enforcement to obtain a warrant, and meanwhile they're putting your cell phone in a Faraday bag so you can't remote wipe it.
But the Supreme Court ruled on yesterday that the police officers in the process of an arrest cannot search your cell phone without a warrant, which it would only delay the process by half an hour because police officers today can actually text a judge, tell them they've got you there, and you got a phone they want to look at, and the judge in the middle of the night can send you a text back and say he approves it, and bingo, boom, shakalaka, they can set your phone. But
I like that. I think we need to incorporate that into our vocabulary.
You should make that as a little bitty clip.
Bingo, boom, shakalaka.
I'm way ahead of you, buddy.
Yeah, there you go.
How fantastic. Bingo, boom, shakalaka.
Boom, shakalaka.
This is great.
We can just drop it at the end of anybody's clip.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Send me a copy.
Hold on, let me try this. Yeah, I know how we can do this. We can try. Okay. Stand by. Oh, this is going to be good. We're doing it on the fly for you, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go.
I have 2 words for you.
Bingo, boom, shakalaka.
That's 3, but okay. That's bingo, boom, shakalaka. I love him. Very funny.
Well, I love Joe Biden.
Oh boy.
So I got a clip. Now this is Joe in front of some veterans group or something. And he makes a comment here that I challenge, but it's Joe, and I don't know what his view of the world is, but right. Most recently, of course, he's getting into a beef with Hillary about who's more poor.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a known fact that it has to be him.
Yeah.
This guy is probably the only person who's ever been in Congress that never took advantage of the situation, and he just likes being in Congress.
People, the first thing I sat with them when I hired them, said, look, here's the deal. If you ever have any problem at home, no matter what it is, you don't have to tell me what it is, because sometimes it's embarrassing. My child has a drug problem. I'm taking him to a counselor. Vast majority of parents face that.
What?
The vast majority of parents have that? What did he say?
That's what he says. He says that I've got a problem, Joe. I got to take the day off. My son's got a drug problem. I got to take him to counseling.
Yeah.
The vast majority of parents face that, which means that this means not just a majority, not 50%.
The vast majority.
The vast majority means 70+% of the American public's kids
are on drugs,
stoned and on drugs, and need to be taken to counseling.
I'll buy that.
I don't buy it in a million years. Now, I'm not going to say that the vast majority of kids don't smoke dope or they don't have a beer or do whatever they do, whatever age they are. I'm not going to argue that. But they're not so bad off and they're so wasted that they need to be taken to counseling.
Oreos are just as addictive as cocaine.
I don't know, man. Anything could happen.
It's bull crap. And I think he must be his kids. They must be a bunch of druggies. That's the only thing I can say. I mean, I wouldn't go out in public and say that. It makes an assumption on my kids have never needed counseling for drugs. None of them.
No.
And that's 3.
You're above the average.
I'm in the vast minority.
Yeah. The more I look at the field, the more I'm liking Joe. But I think he would be a pretty good president.
He is the dumbest of the group.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Kerry's dumber.
Oh, well, maybe.
But he's compassionate.
Kerry carries himself as though he's not dumb. Joe's a goofball.
I'm going to have to move over to your side of the camp for a number of reasons on Pocahontas, Elizabeth Warren. So this something that has really tipped very, very drastically with the Hillary love. And actually, it was the what is this? The National Review wrote a very, very good piece saying Elizabeth Warren is the Obama of 2016.
Well, this is one of the things that came up in a conversation with a guy who wrote Blood Feud, the Obamas versus the Clintons. And he believes that Obama's the one promoting this because apparently in meetings with his close counsels and aides, he says he wants a mini-me.
Yeah.
That would be his words, a mini-me to run for president. And mini-me doesn't mean a small black man. What it means is someone that came in out of the blue at the last minute and charged Hillary and knocked her off their pedestal.
Right.
And I got a couple of interesting little clips about this, and I think a lot of it stems from this particular one. I think this would be clip. Oh, God. I hope I didn't lose the clip.
I've got Obama.
Try Obama Clinton 2.
Oh, okay. Hold on a second. You got it.
Animosity was the fact that Obama reneged on this deal that I just mentioned between them.
Is this the author, Klein? Is that who's talking?
Yeah, it's Klein. Now, okay, Obama clip 1. I guess I
don't have an Obama clip 1.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. Let me tell you what the Obama clip 1 says. I'll just reiterate, and then you can play clip 2, which refers to Obama clip 1. He says that, and I believe this to be a true story. He says that before the 2012 presidential reelection campaign, Obama and Clinton were playing golf, which is quite likely.
Right.
And Clinton wasn't a big supporter of his, Bill Clinton we're talking about. Mm-hmm. And he says he'll do a deal. The deal is I will give a rousing speech, which he did at the 2012 convention, promoting you to be, just to give you a big boost and make the public associate you with me and all the rest of it, in exchange for you supporting Hillary in 2016. Right. Obama says, yep, no problem. Yep. That's a deal.
Yeah.
And then shortly thereafter, like within the last year or so, Bill asked him about his support for Hillary because he's not noticing any. And he says, I don't know who I'm going to support.
Yeah.
And so that's what the second clip refers to. Now, I want you to play the second clip, and then I have an anecdote, which I think may shed light on this.
Animosity was the fact that Obama reneged on this deal that I just mentioned between them. And since then, we have seen Clinton and Obama go at each other in various ways. For instance, recently, Bill Clinton said that Obamacare was a flawed law from a Democrat. That's a big deal and needed to be fixed. And that the best person who could fix it, naturally, was his wife, Hillary Clinton. And Hillary has said that the IRS scandal is a scandal, which, of course, the White House didn't like to hear at all. So the Clintons are beginning to put space between themselves and Obama.
Now, if you remember, and we did this on the show, I think it was last year when they were having the economic meltdown. We're going to go the fiscal cliff. That's actually longer than a year ago. The fiscal cliff. We're going to follow the fiscal cliff and all this. And so they're trying to do emergency budgets and all this stuff. And there was a front line that was done on this specific deal made between Obama and Boehner to stop the nonsense and put an end to it. And Obama reneged on it.
That thought it would have at least been nice for President Obama to say, well, I'm kind of leaning towards Hillary Clinton in 2016. He has not gone that far. I don't expect him ever to. Is that possible? Is that fueling a little bit of the hostility there as well?
Well, Bill and Obama struck a deal during a golf game in 2011, in the fall of 2011, in which Bill Clinton promised to back Obama if in return Obama would come out for Hillary in 2016. And that was a deal they made, and Bill was made good on the deal. He gave that speech that we all remember at the Democratic National Convention in August of 2012. And then after he got elected, Barack Obama, in typical fashion, I must say, reneged on the deal and said to Clinton, I'm told by several sources, I'm not so sure who I'm going to support in 2016.
Ooh, interesting.
Now, this, of course.
Anyway, let me.
Can I just say this guy obviously, this book and everything is just it may not even be true. It's obviously just an entire play by the Clintons.
Yeah, it's a hit job by Clinton.
Yeah.
Although he seems to be supporting her in some funny way. Anyway, so this was on Frontline. He did the exact same thing with Boehner, which is to tell the guy to, done deal. And so I was thinking about, now he's done this a couple of times, and this is kind of a style of his. And then I remember when I was in Jakarta. Now, Obama was raised in Indonesia in extremely formative years, first grade to fifth grade. Can you pick up a lot of style?
Hold on a second. Say that again about Jakarta.
It's in Jakarta. So I've given a talk in Jakarta, and they're treating me with the royally. And the
can you give me frame this timing?
It was a few years ago. But the point was that they put me up at this really expensive hotel, and they did all these things, and then I needed to get to the airport, so I started pestering the woman that ran the whole thing about how to get to the airport on the way back, because I had to leave the next day.
Right.
Or no, I had to leave on a Sunday. And I said, I got a car lined up for you. And I said, oh, okay. So there's a car and it's going to pick me up on Sunday. For some reason, right from the beginning, I didn't believe her. And so I kept pestering everybody in the company. There's a car coming. Yeah, there's a car coming. There's be a limo coming to pick you up. The limo never arrived. I had to get a taxi from this rather expensive place and go. And I got to it didn't bother me because I got there, but I wrote them asking what happened, what went wrong. I never heard from anybody. They never wrote back or anything. And so I always thought this was very peculiar until I talked to a friend of mine who spent a lot of time living in the Philippines. And he says that these cultures over there, they want to please you by saying yes to everything. Oh, yeah we're going to do this. We're going to do that. And then they don't want to talk to you after that because they're going to renege on these deals. I believe Obama picked this up from the Indonesian culture. It's like you say, okay, I'm stuck on the golf course. I'm stuck on a boat. I'm stuck in a golf course with Bill. He wants me to do this. And, Bill's pushy. And say, yeah. No. Yeah. You come to that. Yeah. I'll support Hillary. Yeah. Let's get the game over. And that's the end of it. I think that this is a cultural thing that he picked up by being raised from his formative years in the 1st to the 5th grade in Indonesia.
It's interesting.
End of story.
Yeah. Oh, well, let's go back. Miss Mickey, who lived in Nagasaki for 5 years, she ran her husband's art thing that they were doing there. It's like 20 people. It's like huge operation. And and of course, there's a 6'1" blonde woman with a whole bunch of Japanese. And she said no one would ever say no. They just never say no. And then they would say, yeah, no problem. But things just wouldn't happen. They just wouldn't do it. But they never say, no, I didn't do it, or I can't do it, or it's not possible. Say, yes, everything's okay. So it is, and of course that's Japan, but it's in the region somewhere.
He says it's in the Philippines too. The exact same thing that happened to me in Indonesia.
Doesn't surprise me at all. Huh.
So that's a warning to travelers.
Yes. If they say the limo will be here, it's pretty much
bullshit.
There you go.
Yes.
The limo will be here, Mr. Dvorak.
So anyway, this character from the book, he has one more little story that I think is interesting, which is his Obama on vacation story anecdote that is in the book, and it's quite funny.
Well, they go on vacation most frequently to Martha's Vineyard, and I spoke to two of the housekeepers in the house that they rented, this huge mansion that they rented.
Let me just stop right here. This does not work this way. Even non-presidential people, even Hollywood movie stars, everybody who works for them has a non-disclosure agreement. They can't just go blabbing to some Ezra Klein dude or wherever it is.
Yeah, no, I believe that's true, but this is still a great story. You're like interrupting what I think is a great story.
I'm going to go back here. I won't interrupt.
Well, they go on vacation most frequently to Martha's Vineyard, and I spoke to two of the housekeepers in the house that they rented, this huge mansion that they rented, for $50,000 a week, by the way. And they told me that both of these are two different sources, that the Obamas sleep in separate rooms, that as far as they could tell, they don't visit each other at night, and that during the evening, Obama sits in that bed, in his own bedroom, smoking cigarettes, eating junk food, and chomping on Murdoch taffy or Murdoch...
all foods that are not allowed in the White House.
Well, this has been the week of just making fun of people. I'm sure you heard about it if you didn't see it, the CNBC outing of Tim Collins.
How is this guy outed? I thought he was out of the closet.
Well, there's a couple things I want to say about it, because that is the meme. This Tim Cook, of course, from Apple.
Yeah, Tim Cook from Apple. Supposedly, I saw this. I didn't put it in my part of the show, but I saw the story, and I was like, how was he outed, and why is everyone making a big deal about this?
Well, that's the question I want to pose. Let's listen to what happened. This is CNBC, and I guess they're talking to the reporter from the New York Times? New York Magazine? New York Times. And then he went around and he went to find gay CEOs, and no one wanted to be in his article. And it's just,
But your column this weekend looks at Lord Brown at BP.
Yes, former CEO of BP.
Interesting cultural corporate story.
Well, I interviewed him last week. He has written a book in which he's described the frankly tortured life he led as a gay CEO of a major company. But what I find so surprising about this is he becomes the first person ever at a Fortune 500 or FTSE 100 company to publicly acknowledge that he's gay. And after all the advances in gay civil rights, you would think CEOs especially are measured by objective criteria, which is financial performance. We even have, pro football players on television acknowledging they're gay.
Well, look at marriage at the state level. Yeah.
So what I'm really exploring in the column and using his experience as a model is, why would this be in the corporate world? And what does this mean? And I just found it very, very fascinating. And of course, there are gay CEOs of major companies, and I reached out to many of them, and I have to say I got an extremely cool reception. Not one would allow to be named.
Well, I think Tim Cook is fairly open about the fact that he's gay at the head of Apple, isn't he?
No.
Oh dear, was that an error?
Wow.
I don't know. I thought not.
You just, yeah.
I don't think he's very open
the New York
about
Times
it.
tried
Fodder
very
for
hard
a future
to bring that
column,
to the fore in the
perhaps.
recent story.
I don't want to comment about anybody who might or might not be, because I'm not going to out anybody, and I called a lot of people, and no one at any major...
All right, so here's what... This clip is very troubling to me in so many ways. We're in this age of equality, and women are getting the raw deal, so we have to, there has to be equality, and you can't use words and all this stuff.
Inequality too.
Yeah, all this stuff, and words you can't use. Redskins, you can't say any of this stuff. Fighting Irish, whatever. I read this morning we have to rename the Apache helicopter. All this stuff. And then I think this the columnist sounds gay. I mean, gee, sorry to generalize, but yeah, sounds. He did his story on gays, and then he's appalled that that no CEOs wanted to talk about being gay. Which, by the way, isn't that the whole point? That it's supposed to be no big deal. And here is the gay guy making a big deal about the fact that no one wants to talk about it. It's something that's not supposed to be a big deal because you can love whoever you want to love. And yet here they are making an actual big deal of it. And then when this Brit and the Brits, I think, are actually pretty cool about stuff, because Brits are all gay, as far as I'm concerned. And
no, that's a fact.
Yeah, fact.
And let me look at the donation list. Oh yeah, they're all gay.
Yeah, but I think that's pretty much
on the best podcast in the universe.
And then everyone's in horror because I didn't quite say, I think you've outed Tim Cook. It's like, can we grow up about all of this already? And this is now, and the reason I play it is to analyze that this is now suddenly a big deal, and CNBC are so stupid they outed Tim Cook, who, if you really don't give a crap, then why are you giving a crap? Look at yourself, because everyone is the people are, yes?
I have to interrupt. The game is over. Netherlands 2, Mexico 1.
Yeah, excellent.
You may continue.
Thank you very much. Well, I've just got an email in from Brian, the Gay Crusader. And, and whenever it comes to LGBTQIAAP, we always listen to our Gay Crusader. He has the cape. Tim Cook has been out for years. It is well publicized when he became CEO of Apple. The columnist sounds like he's doing a bad impression of a gay man. Well, that's another good point. Thank you very much.
Oh, that's a funny observation.
Mm-hmm.
Although New York gays have funny.
So the only thing I feel that is happening here is, and this is just from a media production and executive standpoint, gay equals ratings. No matter what you do, bring some gay into it, you're getting ratings. Okay? Gay equals power. Because, if you're doing anything against the gays, like Putin, we know how that went. Putin! You could really, it's powerful. And here's CNBC trying to catch on to this, and it's really despicable, I guess, is what I'm saying. The misuse and abuse.
I'm not going to argue the despicable nature of the whole gestalt of the episode. But here's what bothers me, although it's got nothing to do with anything you said, but it has to do with the competency of CNBC. The Gay Crusader knew that Tim Cook had come out, and I knew he'd come out. And everybody in the Bay Area knows he's gay. And the CNBC guy drops it as though he's the only one who knows. He's unaware of all the stuff that came before. In other words, he's a commentator for CNBC, and he doesn't know what's going on in that regard. Now, what really happened, obviously, it seems to me, the reporter sent out his flyers to everybody. And Tim Cook is like Steve Jobs. He doesn't want to talk to anybody. Yeah. And he said, can I talk about gay CEOs? And Tim Cook's secretary.
Fuck you is what he said. Fuck you. I don't want to talk to you, douchebag.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, here's the point, America. Who cares? Who cares? But you do. You see, that's the problem, because you're not really over it. You play a big game, you talk a big game, but you're really not over it. You aren't. Most of America I'm looking at all the liberals. You know what? They're not over it. And they question their own sexuality. So I just want to say, America's got a long way to go when it comes to this.
Can you rewind the show, by the way?
Rewind it?
Predicted Netherlands 2, Mexico 1, because I actually called the score.
Well, why? Why do you want me to do? I don't understand. What do you want me to do?
Oh, never mind. I was just going to gloat. I was getting you off the topic.
Yes.
All right.
Quick little karma to Chardman, whose triumph was taken out by a deer.
You've got karma.
And now, while we're...
Hit a deer?
Yeah.
He's lucky to be alive.
Yeah, he
You
is.
know how there's a lot of deer hits up north.
Yeah.
You know how you get killed when you hit a deer?
His hoof will slice your neck open.
What happens usually depends on the car you're driving. That's why you should drive a aerodynamic car,
like your 1997 Lexus.
92.
Oh, sorry.
It's aerodynamic. The deer would go flying over the roof. Right. Most people drive these SUVs up in these parts of the neck of the woods, and they hit the deer, and the deer crashes through the windshield.
Yeah, and then the hoof.
And the deer is not dead, and he panics and kicks and swings his horns around and kicks and kicks and kicks and kicks you to death in the car.
Yep, that's the number one cause of death up north. Okay, before I just because I need to talk to America here for a moment and continue. So if you're not over the gay thing, America, if you have a long way to go, until you just don't give a crap anymore. Okay, The View. Apparently, everyone's been fired at The View. I don't know, except for Whoopi Goldberg, and I could care less. I don't watch The View, and I used to like her a lot when she was just doing stand up and her early movies and stuff, and she became very annoying to me. But she did something that is part of the vocabulary of people who watch The View, and I don't know. Did they have no ratings? Had to fire everybody? I have no idea what's going on. Maybe nobody watches. But this was a conversation about words and her take, and actually the panel's take on words and bullying and using phrases like Redskins or whatever it is. And there was so much going on here, and it just bothered me. And this is what's his name, Kane. I think he's on CNN. He's a Republican or right leaning guy. What's his name? Anyway, Will Kane.
Herman Cain?
Will Kane.
Oh,
Will Kane. So here they are on just this clip. It's bothersome. You can't even understand what they're saying, obviously.
This is so inappropriate. Russell, in this commentary, compares ISIS, this group running around the Middle East, lopping heads off left and right, to Fox News, who, they might persuade somebody. And I think it's part of this whole trend we have now. We elevate words to the most harmful thing in society. How dare you say something that could offend somebody? That's right. How dare you say something that could hurt my feelings? Yeah. Why have we gotten to this place where words
Let me tell you why. Well, because America we have a history of utilizing words to harm people and hurt people. And the people who have been on the other side of it, I think are at the point where they're saying, you know what, this is not okay anymore. And you gotta roll with it, because
there it is. Roll with it. Roll with it.
At some point we all have to grow up.
And verbal abuse is sometimes worse than physical abuse. There was a time when it was sticks and stones could break my bones, but your words cannot hurt me.
That's not true, that saying. I don't believe in that saying. One bit sticks and stones may hurt, may break you, but words will never hurt you.
So this is what we've talked about many times. What I grew up with, what you grew up with, was sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. And these people go ballistic. Words do hurt. And
hurt you. Yeah. Words, labels can hurt you. This, when you say aware of those words, why not just be kind to one another and not use them?
That's the whole point. You got to be bigger than
you know
words.
what?
Like
you cannot say that to. Well, what you can do is say, you know what? Don't use that redskin thing anymore. I'm not comfortable with it. Don't say this word because I don't like it. I'm Irish. I don't want to hear this. Every one of these groups has the absolute right to say this has been harmful. This has hurt my parents. This has hurt my grandparents. And don't use it anymore, or you're going to hear about it. Or use it and don't be surprised that people are pissed.
Out of business. We'll all stop talking. Everybody's offended all the time. From the Fighting Irish to the Redskins, everybody's offended.
Wait. That is spoken like a true white guy.
Maybe. That's what I am.
It's spoken like a true white guy, because if you... And I don't...
Did you hear that?
She says...
Spoken like a true white guy.
Yeah, she's a racist.
That's racist.
Yeah, to an extreme. And of course, the guy didn't catch her to call her out on it.
He just let it slide. But
no, she's a horrible racist.
You can't say it's like you can't say sticks and stones will break my bones, and then you can't do all this, and then turn right around, and then she actually says something even funnier.
And I don't mean it in a bad way.
I don't mean it in a bad way. Okay.
Yeah, you do.
And so
you mean it in a bad way. You wouldn't have said it.
So apparently, you can do that as long as you're Whoopi Goldberg, but you can't do it if you're not.
Well, that's why nobody's watching the show. Hello.
Well, that's the question. Is actually nobody watching the show?
I think those alternative shows, there's a couple of them, The Talk, that's The Table, The Cutter. I don't know, they have a bunch of these. There's about 4 clone shows that are taken off of The View, and I think that they're outperforming The View, and I think The View has needed a shakeup, and Whoopi's they don't see Whoopi as the problem. She's annoying.
So apparently Brazil can't meet Germany in the final of the World Cup.
Oh, are they on the same side of the rounds?
Yeah, so they can meet in the semifinals.
Well, then who? Oh, I have to look at the brackets.
Well, then it could probably be. So for the.
Well, what's the?
It will be Brazil against.
Is there any chance of Netherlands meeting Germany?
Yes.
Are they in the same bracket?
Yeah. Netherlands, Germany. It can be Brazil, Argentina, or Netherlands, Germany. Wow.
So Netherlands and Germany, that will be in a fight, and the Germans will win that one.
No. That could be the finals. It can be.
Oh, that's the finals. The finals could be Netherlands, Germany?
No, the finals could be Netherlands, Germany. For the semifinals, Brazil, Germany, and Netherlands, Argentina. So it could be, this would be the ultimate, Brazil, Argentina. Doesn't matter who wins. Both countries need help.
No, it does matter. Even more so, because the Brazilians hate the Argentinians.
Oh, wow. That could be great.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
That'd be good. All right. Why are we even talking about that?
Well, you're the one that brought it up.
I had to correct us. It can't be.
Oh, yeah, because we predicted the impossible.
The impossible. we predicted the impossible. Exactly.
All right. Brazil, Argentina, and I don't know what's going to happen to these other guys.
I think it's about time now that we get into our segment.
Dude named Ben.
Oh,
or do you want to do something else?
I have something after that I want to make sure that we get in.
Why don't you do that? I don't want to forget whatever you're doing.
Well, I don't know. How are we doing for time? Okay, like I ran into, we have a couple of famous barons in Tokyo. And they do this kind of 20-second. They invented a presentation,
which is being done around the world now.
Yeah, there's 700 venues for this. But so they brought this woman. I'm watching what I thought was going to be an educational panel on C-SPAN, where they brought on a bunch of people to talk about technology and the media kind of thing. And they brought in this Adina Karasik, whatever they call it, K-A-R-A-SIK. Is her name, and she is the most astonishing bullcrap artist I have ever heard and she is the professor of media at Fordham, I believe. So let's start with the introduction to her, which is
introduction.
I'm just the way I did a very poor job of. Kara. This is the Adina Karasik intro, not her intro.
Yeah, got it.
We're going to start off with Dr. Adina Karasik from Fordham University, who's going to be presenting a Pechacucho, which, if you don't...
Pechacucho. It's in Austin, too, by the way. We had one. It's very popular. It's incredibly popular.
I don't know what a Pechacucho is. It's PowerPoint multimedia with video, audio. It's quite an amazing creation, to be perfectly honest.
I'm sorry, John. We just have to reiterate, our Dame Astrid and Sir Mark in Tokyo invented this.
Yeah, so actually, if you look at Pechacucho in the Wikipedia, they're mentioned prominently as the inventors. Now, the way that she does them, she makes a horror show, from what I can tell. And I only have her. She iterates her entire slideshow presentation, and I want you to listen to this carefully, because she's got a word in here that I've never heard ever, and I couldn't find it trying to find it on Wikipedia. and you'll hear it. But then this is her intro. This is part 2. This is her talking about her slideshow, and she gives you the whole slideshow by talking about it. Then then you don't have to, but you can play slide 1, which was her talking about the same thing again. But I just want you to play this for one reason. This is the sort of professor of media that an Ivy League college might have. I don't know whether she has tenure or not, but we in Silicon Valley, and you know this because you've heard these pitches, the kind of bullshit that flies does not come close to this.
Thanks, Bob, for inviting me here today. It's great to see you all. Yes, I've created a pechakucha. For those of you who don't know what it is, it's a Japanese form that basically takes sort of like an upgraded slideshow, which takes 20 seconds, 20 slides, and each slide is really, you have 20 seconds. So it's quite a feat to be able to do it live. I usually would be presenting this live, but because of technological difficulties today, I will be just presenting it to you as is.
What?
This blather.
Yeah. All right, now we do the slide?
No, that's the end of her clip?
Yeah, that's all I had.
Oh, yeah, okay, then try this. Oh, no. Okay, this will be it. This is her summary of the thing. This is Adina summarizes. This is the good one.
Hold on a second. I had the wrong one. Okay, Dina summarizes. Here we go.
Basically, the presentation, which has gone through a number of titles, is now called Back in the OSVR, The Ghost is the Machine. And basically, it's an analytic meditation on the relationship between technology and spirituality in contemporary media. And so, as you will see, it has, there's references to manifestations of the disembodied voice, as in Spike Jonze's Her, which I'm sure you've all seen, or Apple's Siri, rethinking it as a 21st century golem. It highlights how the mystical and the machine
I like it.
are not oppositional, but that all media are extensions of man and cause, as in the words of McLuhan, deep and lasting changes and transform our environment. And basically opens up a space reminding us how the metaphysical and the physical are not oppositionary, but maybe perhaps it would be more wise to think of it more as a pataphysical space.
A pataphysical space? Pataphysical?
Which reminds us how language, and thereby all knowledge, is spectral and virtual and simulacric. So without
what is it? Simulacrac? What is that? Oh, this is a good word. I got it.
Simulacrac is, she says there's spectral and virtual and
bingo, boom, shakalaka.
And simulacrac.
And virtual and simulacrac. So without further ado, my pechakucha.
Bingo, boom, shakalaka.
Simulacrac. Perfect. By the way, a lot of these pechakuchas are really good. I want to get the idea of the.
This one isn't.
This is not. So I guess
slide 1 of the pechakucha, and this is the same blathering craziness that makes no sense to anybody.
But it's actually quite entertaining. I'm enjoying it.
If according to Derrida, spirit embodies the same and other simultaneously, we must rethink the relationship of the mystical and the machine, not as oppositional, but that technology is aligning the binary between the physical, metaphysical, magical, and the real, reminding us how language and thereby all knowledge is spectral, virtual, simulacric.
Boom, bing, bam, boom, chakalaka. Wow. You know what? Did she at any point during her pechakucha mention wearables?
I don't know. I couldn't watch anymore.
Internet of Things?
I couldn't take it. She's so full of crap. And I'm like a McLuhan maven. I mean, I used to read in fact, I've read all of his material.
Who's McLuhan?
Marshall McLuhan is a media theorist that died, like 20 years ago, just before the internet came around. And he was a very controversial figure, and he was Canadian. She's Canadian, by the way. And most people thought him as something of a crackpot. He's the medium is the message guy.
Oh, okay.
So
yes,
he
of
had
course. Yes.
A lot of interesting thoughts and observations, which were some of them were somewhat nutty, but a lot of them were thoughtful. And there's very much of it was like based on, James Joyce style writing, because he was a huge fan of James Joyce. Right. And this woman just seems to be just grabbing at straws and throwing words together. She's more famous as a poet, which makes some sense.
Yeah, that does.
Than anything else.
Reminding me a bit of like Word Slam or whatever.
Yeah, and it's just like, please. Can you imagine taking her course? I mean, you'd want to shoot yourself. People like this should not be teaching.
Well, that's the thing that's surprising, is that she's actually teaching.
She's a professor.
Well,
anyway, if anybody gets a clue on what she's talking about with simulacrac, I'd be interested. I couldn't find it. I Googled my head off looking for it. Nothing.
Simulacrac?
Yeah, simulacrac.
Did you try Faru.com?
No, I haven't. I didn't know about it until we started the show, so I haven't.
How do you think you spell simulacrac?
I thought it was Sima, S-I-M-I, lac, L-A-C, rac, R-A-C. That would make sense.
Simulacrac. Let me give it a shot in Faru.com. And so far, no, I'm sorry. No luck. Simulacra. I don't know what it is. Wow. All right, let's do this now.
I think his first name may have been Ben.
So a guy named Ben, a dude named Ben.
Exactly. Dude named Ben. We need a full jingle for this. This is the quite surprising, to me at least, the lack of true technical analysis of the situation with the IRS missing emails. And now, of course, this goes on to the EPA missing emails, just missing emails in general from our government here in the United States of Gitmo Nation. And the more C-SPAN I watch, the more disappointed I am by just no one giving one crap about what it really... It's not all that hard to understand, but I guess we have such disdain for people that we just say, C drive, crash, glitch, end of story. Where just a little bit of research would really help you understand what's going on. We always keep our IT administrators, sysadmins in very high regard here on the No Agenda Show. But these, of course, have now been relegated to the single solitary level of...
Dude named Ben.
That is, all people in IT are now a dude named Ben. And that's your government who thinks that way. So we got a lot of emails from dudes named Ben. And I think we should evaluate a few of these. Because the IRS most definitely was using an email archiving system known as Sonasoft. And they are backpedaling as much as they can. And the system actually is very interesting. Here's our first dude named Ben, No Agenda Night. This is our dude named Ben who turned us on to the Spectre 360 software, employee spying software. John, remember this we had?
Yep.
That takes the screen movies of everything. I happen to be very experienced with Sonasoft SonaVault email archiving software that the IRS is blaming for their lost messages. Total bullshit on their part, but what else is new? The SonaVault is deployed to archive every email that traverses the network, just in case the email server, and he says just in case, all uppercase, or employee's hard drive crashes. So this solution they had in place is specifically in place for this very reason, in case a hard drive crashes. All email that enters an organization is intercepted, logged, indexed, and archived before it is sent on to the user's email boxes. This is so that an employee cannot delete, securely or otherwise, any emails received internally or externally before being recorded and archived. Any emails sent by a user are relayed to the SonaVault before it is forwarded by the SMTP server to archive those as well. So let's just recap this. This is not like I've got emails and there's a backup process. No, the minute an email goes through the network, at the network level, the SonaVault catches it and saves it. SonaVault is an independent system from the email server on purpose. It is an on-site appliance, not in the cloud, to make sure all emails are saved in case of a server or hard drive crash. It is used for incredibly fast searches of all email. This, of course, debunks the whole idea that they have no way to search their email. And the searches can be narrowed down to ranges, email boxes, keywords, etc. SonaVault, says our dude named Ben, was my third level of backup, beside email clusters and nightly offsite disk to backups. Any IT guy or dude named Ben worth his salt knows backups and restore techniques. So did the IRS lose these backups? No effing way. Let's go on to our next. Now, Sonasoft made a statement, and this is our dude named Ben, who says, I am a new IT manager for a large public accounting firm and have worked in the IT risk and security industry for several years. This includes implementing, evaluating, and auditing companies' IT security environment and best practices, including Sarbanes-Oxley, HIPAA, and others, each of which has strict retention and data archiving policies. Today, I was reading Sonasoft's blog post denying that they have the IRS's email archives, and I noticed a few nuances I want to point out. Their main point that is repeated several times is as follows, quote, Sonasoft does not have IRS email. Sonasoft never had access to IRS email. This is interesting because they stress they do not currently have IRS email, which is true, and they never had access to IRS email. They do not say they never had IRS email or the email wasn't archived, only they did not have access. So the access language is interesting because Sonasoft is attempting to tell everyone what likely happened. So this is the sleuthing from our dude named Ben. Sonasoft has safeguards and special algorithms to protect the SonaVault email archive from mischievous IT administrators who might be tempted to delete or tamper with the archived email. Any attempt to delete or modify the SonaVault email archive will capture the altered text, date stamp the attempt, and send out various alerts to IT personnel and management that an attempted breach occurred. The original email will not be changed in any way. The only way that email can be deleted from the archive is through SonaVault's expiration policies. Now, this is where we get down to the heart of it. The administrator can set retention policies to purge the archive of emails that have reached an expiration date, which is often set to a 7-year period. And this is where it gets interesting, John. It seems to be pretty much company policy across the board to limit everybody's inbox to 2 to 250 megabytes and to start deleting after 30 to 60 days. Now, this doesn't mean that the Sonasoft solution hasn't captured all this stuff, but it is very possible that the hard drive crash certainly removed Miss Lerner's emails, but that the policy set in hindsight purged the emails from the big backup solution. Dude named Ben, who worked for a large oil and gas company with 2 X's in it. During my tenure, they moved to a rather annoying email policy. The inbox was limited to 250 megabytes. After 12 months, emails were moved to a to-be deleted folder, and after another 30 or 60 days, they were deleted. The purpose of this was to force us to flush out our inbox in case litigation was to pop up, to limit the amount of discovery that could be done. This is a large oil and gas company. Their solution was to save the individual files as .msg files to the shared server. That part was moderately inconvenient, and people in finance or treasury, when you work in a refinery and do engineering support, your records and historic references can be very important. And it doesn't always make sense to save that stuff to a central LAN. We used to joke it was good to get put on the litigation hold because all of those restrictions disappeared. So this is how I think the whole Sarbanes-Oxley thing has been circumvented, and it's a big joke, John. I don't think that everyone has all these policies to strip email out and get rid of it.
Well, this reminds me of this, the modern board, especially in a tech company. I was in one board meeting once, and some guy was the secretary was very assiduous about writing down every detail of the meeting, and then after the meeting was over, he got chewed out for writing down any details.
Right, just for having done it at all, yeah.
And it would be like somebody. It should be Joe Blow stood up and discussed the policies regarding personnel. That's it. One short sentence about what he's or nothing. Or just nothing happened in this meeting. And this kind of thing that's what American business does. We go out of our way to obfuscate because of litigation. The stuff you run into in discovery is nightmarish.
Here's an email from a dude named Ben. He says, I'm working for a defense contractor that had a whistleblower problem. Soon afterwards, a new email policy came out. Email older than 6 months is deleted from the server, and you're prohibited from saving email on your local drive. If you're in a position where you would receive email that needs to be saved longer for compliance reasons, then you have to take a class, install software that would tag the software for archive. The official reason given was the cost of backups. Policies to prevent employees from access to data are everywhere.
The cost of backups?
Yeah.
I guess no one's been to Costco and looked at the price of a terabyte drive.
And then the final from a dude named Ben, who is a supply officer in the U.S. Navy, currently serving in Italy. It is Navy policy. We get only 200 megabytes of storage space on our Exchange server. And by the way, this is the big part of the problem, is Exchange server. Every day before I go home, I have to go through my emails and move older emails to a .pst file on my desktop. We are not allowed to have the .pst files on network storage, so if a hard drive goes, you lose everything, as the Navy is far too cheap to pay for hard drive recovery, and the techniques are overworked and underpaid. The technicians are overworked and underpaid, and they're all named Ben, so they don't give a two shits about them. Navy IT is supposed to back up the emails going through the server to tape for investigative purposes, but I wouldn't be surprised if that doesn't happen at all. Or, as I've seen on multiple occasions, the tapes fail or weren't written correctly and the backups is useless. IT in the government is a joke. It was just a few months ago that we upgraded from Windows XP and Office 2003 to Windows 7 and Office 2010. Well, I do think the IRS is using these hard drive failures as an excuse to cover up wrongdoing. I wouldn't be surprised if their IT department failed too. So what do we make of all this?
Throw out all computers.
And of course, now
what do we make of it?
Well,
what I make of it is it probably is just as like this is a out of control corrupt government doing what it can to cover up anything it does.
And if total disdain for the public, for the regulations, and it is obvious.
They're the ones that make all these stupid They make all these regulations that go out of control because, I've always said that, we got a do nothing Congress. I always tell people you should be thankful.
Yeah.
Because when the Congress is doing something, it's usually screwing stuff up.
Now, here's what's going to happen.
And everybody's apparently in violation of the Federal Records Protection Act.
Yeah. And I have a piece on that. But first, here's what's going to happen. No one will be made an example of. And unlike the IRS is very specific and actually very personal to me, they make examples of people all the time. You want to prove that you don't have to pay taxes? Wesley Snipes, go to jail for 3 years. They always take some schlub from the entertainment industry who got screwed by managers and agents. Sorry, didn't take pay tax.
Willie Nelson got screwed by James Brown.
Everybody. They're always out to make an example of somebody and screw them.
Yeah, it's always usually a very popular singer.
Yeah. And while I think it is important to remind people that they have a duty, there's all kinds of negative connotations for the citizen. And of course, no one is going to be made example of. It is very clear that this company, Sonasoft, had their network-based archiving system in place. This was expressly deleted. It seems to be the way it's done in big business and government alike, because we just don't want to have any record of anything. And by the way, this is not just this government. And this is unfortunately where the conversation is going to go. This has happened so many times. And you might recall this even happened with the Bush administration. Do you remember this little ditty? Here's ISA, by the way. This is going to get play. And the whole thing is going to be, oh, yeah. You think you guys are clean? You lost emails too.
I assume that the robust tool you're now using to go through and recapture the PSTs and deconflict the fact that PSTs often have multiple PSTs and you don't want to have 40,000 copies of the same email so you have to take care of the duplicates. Those tools didn't exist for Lotus Notes in all likelihood because...
Do you remember this story when they were trying to migrate from Lotus Notes and they lost 22 million emails?
I don't remember it.
Oh, well, here's ISA talking about
way out by the time the Clinton administration was on its way out. Is that roughly correct?
My understanding is that the way because they have like a limited dedupe process for ARMS, and it had to be built. That's my understanding.
So here we have a situation where the Clinton administration is on a platform that has to be phased out. They lost the war of who's going to supply emails.
No, great explanation of how it works, Daryl.
A period of time goes on in which, yes, we're dealing, to Dr. Weinstein's concern, with getting good archives, but we're also dealing with the fact that I can't play my Betamax tapes anymore either, and I can't seem to find somebody who has a Betamax player anymore. And in a matter of a couple years, it's going to be hard for me to play my high-definition DVDs that were on the platform that now is being phased out.
Nice. So that's how he explained it away. Yeah, and it's total bull crap. All of this is bull crap. Oh, it's on the Lotus Notes. It's completely incompatible. All of this, Daryl Issa, all these, vote all of them out. I'm sick and tired of the bunch of them. And the Obama administration, who are supposed to be the IT expert, sick of all of them. They're lying sacks. They lie, they cheat, they have total disdain for an educated public. Our public knows how email works. Our public understands how servers work. Here are the people who they call dudes named Ben, who actually run this stuff. And they're saying, look, we're asked to basically obfuscate, delete, get rid of evidence. And the stuff that does work actually works in ways that are not properly explained to the public. And what do we get? Glitch or whatever. And here's Mr. Cool, Koskinen. He's now on a PR drive to go and explain it to everybody. And of course, he shows up on Brolf's show.
Somebody like Paul Ryan accuses you basically of being a liar. That's a pretty serious allegation.
Well, it is a serious allegation. We take the entire question seriously from the start.
Bullshit.
As I said when I began, the improper criteria used to highlight organizations for investigation just by their name was a mistake. I apologize to anybody who had their applications held up needlessly. Everybody needs to be confident that the IRS is going to treat them fairly no matter who they are.
That's really interesting. He basically just said, okay, no, that's not important. We're sorry about that. Which is what the whole thing was about in the first place. Hey, we're sorry that we just looked at your names and said, hey, let's investigate these guys. Okay, but let's move on. What? This is brilliant.
Republicans, Democrats, whatever organization they belong to.
Shouldn't someone be blamed for this antiquated, awful system that allowed official records to simply disappear?
Well, I think the IG is investigating all of the issues about the hard drive crash. And
this is Brolf, the top-notch guy at CNN, reading a scripted question and getting the hard drive crash as an answer.
Hard drive crash. My approach when I parachute into these things is to try to fix the problems rather than try to figure out how to blame. And some time ago, I asked for us to review exactly how the email system runs and whether we couldn't convert to a more searchable, more retainable email system. I've also...
which is a lie. They have an incredibly well-archived, searchable system, as we just heard from someone who implements Sonasoft.
Right. No, it's a fantastic system.
Said we need to respond to the concerns of the archivist, who came out with a very interesting...
The archivist? They have a hoarder?
...suggestion recently that for agencies struggling moving forward into an electronic system...
Wait a minute. The IRS is struggling to move into an electronic system? Are you kidding me? Please, this is an insult.
With a very interesting suggestion recently that for agencies struggling moving forward into an electronic system, they should take the senior people and make sure all of those records and emails are preserved. I should emphasize that all emails are not official records. So if an email is lost, it doesn't mean we've lost an official record.
Now, this is now that is a blatant lie. Emails, of course, are official records. That's why there's retention laws for your organization. And now he's making something up.
Why shouldn't taxpayers use the crashed hard drive excuse when undergoing an IRS audit?
Meme.
Yeah, and this is the script. And now listen to the answer.
A number of them already have done that, and the question has been, is there a dual standard? And as I've said, the IRS has 24,000 Lois Lerner emails from this period. We historically, if a taxpayer has lost electronic records have said if you have other indications and evidence of what went on, we'll take that from you. If you lose a document, it doesn't mean you lose the argument. We actually work with taxpayers to say, we'll look at other evidence, like the 24,000 emails, and if we can find any evidence to support your case, and in fact, if the circumstances support your case, we'll support you and you won't have any problem.
Now, this is so unfair what he's saying. So on one hand, yes, I've personally witnessed that they will take pretty much everything and believe you. And this is my own, I've had so much shit with the IRS in my past who come in armed. They will take all kinds of evidence. But if that's all your evidence, like this case where they cannot produce these emails, they're not saying, oh, but we have this to prove it. No, they're saying we don't have it. And when you do that with the IRS, they say, well, sorry, you have nothing to show. You got to pay for it. So it's a false premise that he's putting up here.
He's Mr. Cool.
Yeah. Well,
not going to beat this guy.
I will not stop. There's a couple things I won't stop. Haiti, I'm not going to stop on Haiti, and I'm not going to stop on this. This is the essence. The fact that the system has tricked people into this income tax IRS system, which is not exactly what they say it is, and that's a whole different show. And when you get into that, people, oh, you're just crazy. But okay, it's a system that is supposed to work, but it is based on trust. And if there's no real outrage, which I believe the media is trying to downplay this, and this is clearly a polishing, shiny, make him look good job with Brolf reading the script. If there's no outrage, we are told this is the end of it. Then there's nothing. There's nothing left. What are you going to get angry about?
This is not this is not the right battle. You're asking the wrong question.
Okay. Help me.
Wealth tax.
Yeah. Yeah, different system, you mean?
Exactly.
And that would remove a lot of the problems. But of course, that'll never happen, and people don't even understand what that means.
Happened in Switzerland.
Yeah.
Dude named Ben.
It actually happened in France. A lot of countries have tried it, but most of the time they get, the wealthy realize that this is not the best bet because many of them would never pay income taxes. They don't really have an income.
I don't like it, no. Before we move on to thank our list of producers, you asked me to remind you about this study about online advertising. You asked me to remind you.
Yeah, I did. I can't remember for the life of me why.
This, and its effectiveness.
Yeah, there was something that came out. I think I was tweeting or something, and there was, oh man, I can't remember exactly.
Wow, you should have asked me to remind you the other part of it then, because you only asked me. So I don't know what it is, but this is the study where.
Yeah, this is a study. I think I'd printed it out. Maybe that's what it is. The reminder was to go look through the piles.
Okay, it was an eBay study. eBay commissioned the study, and they looked at online advertising. And if it made any difference, if you had ads on Google, Yahoo, Facebook, or Twitter, if people bought more or less of the product on eBay. And it turned out there was pretty much no difference.
Right.
Well,
they found that nothing worked.
Nothing. Nothing made a difference.
No, they found that most online advertising, I'm just coming back to me.
Yes, okay, here it comes.
We do a lot of work in each individual show, and it kind of it's last in, first out. What can I say? And that was old stuff. That's first in, last out kind of thing. And they've done some studies. I have to get the documents now so I can get some clips or something. But the studies indicate that online advertising, internet advertising, which you just say all the time. It's not like this is the new thing, new concept to the show. You say this commonly. Online advertising doesn't work. It doesn't do anything. It's just a big waste of time and money.
Right.
Now, they did find that some small time advertisers that might do a little search ad advertising benefit some they will boost their business, and many of them will claim that the greatest thing that's ever happened to them was Google. But generally speaking, most of it, the banner ads and all the rest of it are
well, even the Google ads don't work. That what their point was, if someone was truly looking for, it was a new to a category, had never purchased, that's where there is some slight indication that it does work. And this is actually in advertising in general, and I come from the advertising business. The question is always, does it make sense to advertise during Christmas? And if you look at all the studies that have been done, there is I was going to buy it anyway because it's Christmas. And it doesn't really matter if I had the if I saw the ad or not. It's a very, very deep issue that has been going on for years. And it's the magic of advertising that advertising companies don't really want to talk about. And the effectiveness and the amount of money, I think some of that is unraveling now as what we're seeing online. And I think the Ponzi scheme that is in fact Google is coming undone.
Well, I don't know if it's coming undone as we speak, but it doesn't seem to be, there's not a lot of excitement. By the way, this happened in the 99 to 2001 when we had the so-called .com crash.
Right.
One of the huge, one of the big piece of fallout was the advertising business. Everybody pulled out from advertising on the internet, and it screwed up so many business plans that were counting on advertising.
Yeah.
We're going to do it through advertising.
Yeah.
And of course,
we'll monetize through advertising.
We'll monetize through advertising. And that's the reason that when we both went through that, and we went through the rest of the bull crap that goes on. And I got to play some stuff after the break here. That's more bull crap of the sort that we've seen and been part of, actually. But we've seen this play out before. And that's why we don't do advertising. That's one of the many reasons we don't do advertising on this show. If we don't want to get dependent on it, obviously.
But we're on the other side of the equation, which is now with native advertising is bringing editorial and analysis and just words is turning it into unbelievable blather because everything is related to advertising. And we couldn't do any of this. You think you can talk about gays on a show with advertisers? Yeah. Hi. Yeah. Hey, John, could you talk to Adam a little bit? We're getting some pushback from the ad sales guys.
Oh, yeah.
And the problem with the ad sales guys is, they we've got the Korean smartphone that's advertising on your show.
Yeah, we're going to go big on that.
But the problem is they don't like Adam talking about gays and LGBTQIA and all this stuff. We think it's funny and we really appreciate what you're doing and we don't want to tell you what you have to do in the show. But maybe you could steer him away.
It's Adam.
But maybe I was thinking maybe we could look at just for once in a while a substitute host. We could maybe bring in.
I know what you mean. I've been thinking that myself.
We were thinking
that guy,
Father Robert Ballister.
I'm all in with you guys because this guy's been going off the deep end for God knows how long.
We were thinking if we bring.
I've talked to him about it. He doesn't seem to get it.
Yeah.
He's kind of an a-hole. Maybe we should this sort of thing.
Yeah. Maybe we should just ask him just to take a little break. He deserves it. He was moving anyway, and his wife want to go off.
He may have to.
What do you think? What do you think about?
You have a meeting with him because I've talked to him before. If he goes upstairs and has a meeting with you, I think it'll have bigger impact.
What do you think? We were thinking maybe you and Harry McCracken would be a good combo.
McCracken's a good guy. I think he would be a good substitute for Adam.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
And we do have some people to thank for this show who contribute on a show-by-show basis, and I want to thank them now, including Ezra Philipsa, I think. You might be. Is that a name you can pronounce?
Philipse. I think he's from Mechelen, which would be Belgium. So
in Mechelen.
Ezra. Yeah, Mechelen.
12345.
Very nice.
And he makes a comment. Why? Because Andrew Lemesseny in Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Lemesseny.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
It's a beautiful thing.
I like it. Dusty Dave, $100 from Oklahoma. Richard Ballard in Allberg, Vermont.
Sack of sevens.
Sack of sevens. Baroness von Stealth Mode, 7414 from Phoenix, Arizona. Bryson Hunter in Knoxville, Tennessee, 7414. These are our celebratory. This is how much people care. We got Baroness von Stealth Mode, 7414. Brian Hunter, Knoxville, Tennessee. Frances Lambert in Zabek, Croatia. Not an American, probably, but she's in, maybe she's just traveling. It's not a Croatian name. Stephen Schwartz in Schertz, Texas. And finally, Mark Drummond. That's it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people.
And look at where they're from.
Well, that's a failed attempt at celebrating the 4th of July.
But look at where they're from. Arizona, Tennessee, Croatia, celebrating our 4th of July, Texas, and New Jersey. Pretty much all red states who still care.
Well, I would say, yeah. We'll do a karma for everybody, Mark, after this. David Hazan in Brooklyn, New York, $63. Scott Waldher in Rhinelander, Wisconsin. I bet you there's the Germans there in that town. 60. Trevor Lohman in Tustin, California, $59.71. Scott Carbon in Waterford, Michigan, 55. Double nickels on the dime. John Critchley, Fort Switzerland. He's got something here. He's got some comment for show on a website. Why don't you click on that and see what that is?
You know what's weird is your connection is suffering a little bit. I don't know why.
Huh?
Are you downloading something?
No. In fact, I closed the browser. Oh, wait, I didn't close the browser. Maybe the browser is downloading something.
Yeah. Some JavaScript stuff.
JavaScript. All right, that's done. Anyway, click on his thing. Ivar Vandervelde in Veneding.
Hold on, I can't be clicking and helping you with your...
Veneding.
Where is it? Yeah. Ivar Vandervelde in Wageningen. Wageningen. And I'm clicking 55. On this thing. And, oh, shit. This is complicated here.
Anonymous double nickels on the dime. And finally, Eric Hochel in Berlin, Deutschland, $52. He's Sir Kevin Payne in Richmond, Virginia, $50.69. Daniel Sands in Spring, Texas. These are all $50 donors. We get to that really quickly today. Yeah. Jason Zeisler in Ranard, South Dakota. David Dural in Fort Royal, Virginia. Callum Dugan in Glasgow, UK. Gerald Inabinet in Union, South Carolina. Peter Totes, parts unknown. John McGinnis, both in Dingley Village, Victoria, and Ringwood East somewhere. So he gave us, I guess, 2 donations of 50 each, which is nice. Mark Rayleigh in Germantown, Maryland. Philip Meeson in Wellspool, UK. Eric Mann in Spring Hill, Florida. Sir Mark Tanner in Whittier, California. And finally, Dame Tanya Wyman in New York City. She did send a note in. She mailed a check.
Very nice.
If I have her note. It's kind of at the bottom of the list here. There she is. Yeah, there she is. She also did longhand.
That's typical of her. I like her for that.
In the morning, John and Adam, can you please announce my donation with the full title after the show so I can get my protectorate added to the No Agenda peerage map? It's Baroness Tanya Wyman of Manhattan, Perrins, NY. Baroness Tanya Wyman of Manhattan.
No, so someone needs to update the peerage map. That's what she's saying.
Thank you for your courage.
Courage. Thank you for your collage.
Okay, that should be taken care of. Hopefully. All right. That's all we got for today's show. 6:30. Yeah. 6:30 in the morning. And so 6:31 is coming up on Thursday. Good chance to become an executive producer with ease.
All right. And
Dvorak.org/NA.
I don't know if we should try reconnecting or what we should do.
No, why don't you call me?
Yeah. Oh, let me do that right now. Hold on.
These things happen after 2 hours and 54 minutes.
You want to just shut Skype down for a moment, and then I'll call you.
No, usually just your reconnecting works fine.
All right, I'll just and meanwhile,
Dvorak.org/NA.
And we say happy birthday to Christopher Heffley, and Christopher Heffley also says happy birthday to his daughter. She turns 13 on July 2nd. Bryson Hunter, congratulations, celebrating on the 24th, or celebrated on the 24th. And Amanda Clare sent a note and said, hey, Adam, my husband's birthday was today. That was yesterday, the 28th. He does the 3333 monthly donor thingy. I'd like to wish him a happy birthday. We listen to y'all's show as we both carpool to work. The Houston traffic has been sucking a lot less since we started listening back in October. Keep up the epically amazing job y'all do. Amanda, for her hubby Ryan, happy birthday from all your buddies here at the best podcast in the universe. All right. I figured I'd be professional, you know. It's like if we had like a whole staff and people running the board and, you know, producers, I wouldn't have to say, wait while I call you back or anything. It would just happen. So so I just continued the show doing the birthdays while I called you back.
No, I noticed that. That was very good, very smart.
Yeah, it's very slick, I would say. All right,
moving it along, going around.
Yeah, we have. So we do have Sir Michael Schumacher, now baronet, as he wished, and that shall be credited appropriately in the show notes, of course. And thank you for drawing your blade. Christopher Heffley, celebrating birthday, congratulating his daughter, and also Knight of the No Agenda Roundtable. So, Christopher, please step forward as we proudly welcome you to the roundtable and pronounce the Sir Christopher Heffley, Knight of the No Agenda Roundtable. And for you, we've got Hookers and Blow, Rent Boys and Chardonnay, Cannellini Yoga and Jambo, Bad Science and Perky Breast, Cuban Cigars and Single Malt Scotch, Cannabis and Cabernet, Librarians, Hot Ones and Jaeger Bombs, Opium and Warm Orange Juice, Poppy and Winkelburn, served by Oktoberfest Frau Lines, or maybe just some mutton and mead. And thank you very much for your courage, for your support of the show. It is the only way we can continue when everybody pitches in. And go to noagendanation.com/rings. You deserve it, my friend. You definitely deserve it.
So this week marks the 100th anniversary of the beginning of World War I, kind of by the shooting of the shooting in Serbia of the Archduke or whatever it was. Remember?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So they're putting up a big, I got this, unfortunately the clip says A00, but it should say 100 year anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
So they're putting up a statue of, now you remember World War I, when it broke out, killed, I don't know how many millions and millions of people and led directly to World War II.
Do I want to say, I have a feeling it's like 20 or 25 million people?
Some outrageous number. Yeah. And the World War II killed millions and millions of people. It was not a fun era.
World War II was a bummer.
Well, World War I was too. So they were both. It was all part of the same.
It was the
thing.
Trench War, yeah. The World War I fought in the trenches, yes.
Yeah. And it was people were dying of all kinds of things, and then it led to the Spanish flu epidemic.
Yeah, of 1918, which was
right when another everyone just was sick, and they came home and made everyone else sick.
Another 15 million people died.
So play this clip because they're putting up a statue in Serbia or Bosnia or one of the two sides of the river to the guy who was the assassin, because he's a big hero.
100 years ago today, a single shot changed the course of history. Archduke Francis Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary was killed on June 28, 1914, sparking the First World War. Ethnic and national claims still resonate in the region, and Serbs say they're boycotting the commemorations this Saturday in Sarajevo, accusing Bosnian officials of politicizing today's ceremony. In a Serbian quarter of the Bosnian capital, meanwhile, a new statue was unveiled of Gavrilo Princip, the man who killed the Archduke. The man Serb nationalists hail as a hero.
Excellent.
What? They hail this guy was responsible for more deaths. I mean, it's not as though this thing wasn't going to maybe get triggered some other way.
Right.
So, I mean, you have to assume that's the case.
It's like the Kristallnacht of World War I, yeah.
But still, hero.
Well, there is something up with this World War I. I saw briefly this morning while I was prepping, I saw the anti-constitutionalist Fareed Zakaria on CNN.
Were you doomsday prepping?
I was doomsday prepping for the show, getting my my ham gear in my go bag with my massive quantities of ammo and my high capacity magazines. And they were talking about the similarities between 1912. No, when did the First World War break out?
1914.
1914. Actually, I think they were saying 1914 and 2014, but they really meant a little bit earlier, I guess. And the main, again, I just kind of out of the corner of my eye, and I recorded it, so I'll be able to check that for Thursday's show. It appears that they were talking about, the hatred for the Germans, and that we're now seeing this is part of our Deutschland Blitzkrieg that we've noticed. It appears that there is a similarity now that where in 2014 we're also the Germans are the problem, and they're openly talking about this now, and people are picking up stories. I got a couple stories. Young German neo-Nazis are appropriating Brooklyn hipsterdom. That's pretty blatant. Nipsters, the German neo-Nazis trying to put a hipper face on hate. This is Rolling Stone magazine. So they're called nipsters. Nazi hipsters. German shops now to sell Mein Kampf for the first time since 1945 when the copyright is now expiring. Social media. Why do Germans shun Twitter? There's something going on that is not okay.
Well, we got to find what PR agency's behind this German hatred thing. I do have one clip. Germany fires Verizon, which was played big in the Van Cat station.
Right. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Yeah, this is a pretty big deal.
The German government has canceled its contract with the U.S.
Amy Goodman.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying it's Amy Goodman, not Van Cat.
The German government has canceled its contract with the U.S. telecommunications firm Verizon amidst concerns over NSA spying. Reports based on leaks by Edward Snowden revealed vast NSA spying in Germany, including on Chancellor Angela Merkel's cell phone. Verizon provided services for German government agencies. But in a statement Thursday, Germany's Interior Ministry said, quote, the links revealed between foreign intelligence agencies and firms after the NSA affair shows that the German government needs a high level of security for its essential networks.
Oh, well, absolutely. It should have been Deutsche Telekom all along. It should never have been Verizon.
No, I agree with that. Can't blame them.
So, we do have to keep our eye on this.
We've got to start getting more stuff. We should have at least a couple pieces every show until we can kind of figure out. I think the more we play, the more we'll figure it out.
Well, we know, of course, that the Germans, are all over Snowden's asylum.
Well, also, Merkel's a friend of Putin.
Yeah, there's that. Oh, I got some real good insight to the Polish blowjob comment. Now, do you recall this from Thursday's show?
Vaguely.
So secretly recorded tape between the foreign minister and two politicians came out, and he says, the Americans, all we do is give them blowjobs, we get nothing in return. I know what this is about now. From our Polish contingent.
Okay, what?
This is about ESTA, the visa waiver program. Poland is the only country that is in the Schengen Agreement. Now, the Schengen Agreement is this borders agreement in the EU. They're the only country who are not in the ESTA visa waiver program.
Oh, so they have to get a visa to come here?
Yes. And
all the Polish people that live in Illinois, Pennsylvania, and all over the place.
So here's the problem. Nancy Pelosi, she was part of the, when they put this ESTA in place, she said, well, no country can be part of the ESTA system if they have more than 10% rejection rate of visa applications. Now, there's a couple of different explanations for this, and I will give you the ones that I've been given. if you really look into it, and by the way, Chile is in the visa waiver program. Hungary, Czech Republic, Lithuania, Slovakia, Estonia. I mean, you'd think that Poland would be okay to be in there.
Well, actually, you'd think Brazil would be too, but it's not.
Well, Brazil's not, and that's why Brazil has also said "F you" to America. It's very hard to get it's difficult to get a visa for Brazil if you're an American citizen.
Well, it's not that difficult. It just takes a while and costs you $100.
It can be more difficult.
Well, believe me, I've gotten at least a dozen Brazilian visas, and it's not that hard.
When's the last time you got one?
About 2 years ago.
Okay. Well, it may have gotten a little harder with some of the.
Well, if you keep giving, I think if you're a repeat customer, it's not a big deal. No. But they do bitch about it.
So Poland, apparently, the reason why they are at 11 or 12% rejection rate is, there's a couple questions you have to answer for your visa. One is, have you ever been arrested? And, some official reasoning is, well, back in the day, there's a lot of, the communist crap, people are getting arrested all the time. If you answer that question honestly, that's an automatic deny. But also, I think the people in Poland believe, and we do, Poland does a lot for us. We're putting we put missiles in there, and, Obama goes over there and we're like, yeah, we love you.
The only ones that were fighting on Bush's side and some of these. Yeah.
Right. So I understand what they're saying. Like, wait, but we blow America. We let them do anything they want, but we can't just be in the visa waiver program. And there is a deeper context to this, and this is not what I believe. I don't know. I'm telling you what I've been told, and I think it's important because this is another factoid or piece of information you could never bring up on a program with advertisers. There is a theory amongst Poles that there's a lot of Jews in American government hate the Poles, and this is how Nancy Pelosi comes into the story, and they want to make it as difficult as possible. They don't want Polish coming to America. So there's a whole anti-Semitic thing going on there in Poland.
Huh.
Interesting, right?
Well, there is that element. I know that you find this in Chicago, which used to be blacks and Poles and Jewish groups, and there was the three main ethnic groups before the Mexicans took over the place. And the commentary was always that the Jews are irked at the Polish for not doing anything to stand up to Hitler. And then take the Jews. There was some belief that the Polish actually encouraged it, and I think this is a long-standing.
This is one of those. And
I think it's one of those deals.
I actually have it here. Let's see, Wikipedia entry of Maus, M-A-U-S, graphic novel. In which pig is equated to Pole. Poles are pigs to Jews, i.e. the most despised animal in their religion. It's stupid as Poland was tolerant to Jews. This is from an insider I got this from. 3.3 million Jews lived in Poland before World War II, 1 to 2 million more than any other country. It was Germans who performed the Holocaust, but Jews have some stupid idea. This is, again, I'm just reading this. Have some stupid idea the Poles were helping the Germans, which is a lie. If you look at the Wikipedia, and of course Wikipedia is now the truth apparently, rescue of Jews by Poles during the Holocaust. Note, Poland was the only German-occupied country that was helping Jews who were punished by death. Then you have the list of righteous among the nations by country. There's a lot of
it could have been Nazi propaganda. That would be a good one.
Thank you. There's a lot of deep-rooted issues. But this is I had no idea. This is the Poles are very angry. Very angry about.
Well, they should bring it up more in conversation.
Yeah, I don't know.
Every time we ask to do them a favor, here's what we need from you guys.
Yeah, it's like, stop this. But I understand. All these countries are part of the waiver program, and then it's like, oh, you can't come in. No, I know a lot of Polish people. I like them here. And what is wrong with us, with our immigration? What is our problem? Are we an immigration country?
Well, only if you sneak in.
Well, it is true. You know, if you come in on a tourist visa or the ESTA waiver and you overstay and you don't leave, that's how you essentially get your green card and you can become a citizen. But maybe we don't really talk about this immigration stuff on the show because I really don't understand. What is the problem? What is everyone afraid of? Is it because we've become such a welfare state that now everyone wants to keep everyone else away so they won't get their shit? Because that's not how it used to be.
Well, it never used to be a welfare state either.
Thank you. That's what I'm saying. It never used to be a welfare state. And you came here and you either made it by working hard, fitting into some kind of part of a system, or you had to leave because it didn't work out. And if you really worked hard, that was the American dream. And now it's just getting by, and we got minimum wage jacking up, and we got all these programs, and I don't understand. What are we supposed to do?
Well, I don't know. I think you're going to just have to stew in your own juices.
Shut up. Okay.
So what if I told you some really famous guy who started Westwood One has cloned something that probably dates back 7 years, is very old-fashioned. What website, if I was to describe a website to you, tell me what website this would be. It's got a bunch of different podcasts on it that are really not the company's podcast, but they have them all on the homepage, and you can click on any one of them.
Okay, yeah.
And a background is black.
Oh.
It's always got to be black.
Yes.
You can create these kinds of podcast systems, and these other podcasts, these alien podcasts, are all aggregated against this black background.
Oh, really? Okay.
And then you could make like your own show. You could stream like a bunch of different podcasts, and then you could slip advertising into the
in between the podcasts or in the podcast itself.
Like I don't know if you can do it in the podcast or not. So let's talk to the famous Norm Pattis.
Oh, I know Norm. I've met Norm.
Well, he has cloned Podshow.
Really now?
All you have to do is first play the thing. This is Norm Pattis on podcasting.
No single radio owner could own more than 5 radio stations, 5 AMs and 5 FMs. That's not in a market that was in the country. So there were no 400-pound gorillas. If you were in the business of producing shows like I was, there was always somebody, if you had a decent program, that was probably going to give you access to most of the markets in the country. That's not the case today. With deregulation, major radio groups can have virtually limitless ownership of stations in markets, and it's not unusual to have one station owner own 5, 8, 10 radio stations in the market. So the competition among individual stations and individual formats is not nearly what it used to be, and consequently it's very, very difficult for independent producers to get the kind of distribution that you need to be able to have a national audience to sell to national advertisers, who are the primary way that our programs get funded.
So Podcast One, what's your business model? How does it work?
Wait a minute. Podcast One? Podcast One? What's your business model? Let me guess. Let me think. You know what? I just have to hear what this guy's going to say. Hello, it's 2004 calling for Norm Pattis.
It's very simple. I mean, it's very much like the old Westwood One business model. When we started, syndicated radio programs sponsored by national advertisers was not an industry. There were a few of them, but it wasn't an industry. We consolidated, basically we didn't consolidate it. What we did is we aggregated content, and then we started producing our own content, and then we went out to the advertising community, evangelized, and made them aware of an opportunity, for national distribution of their radio commercials to an audience which they weren't seeking. We're doing the same thing with audio on demand or podcasting. We're going to them. We're explaining what it is we do, how we reach a really huge audience. I mean, our programs are downloaded over 120 million times per month. that's a big number. And it's a big opportunity. It's a big opportunity to talk to a lot of people and to reach a lot of consumers and start out by being supported by the advertising industry, but then develop long tail approaches which may not require advertising in order to be supported. May simply require subscriptions from people who really want to consume that program.
Bingo, boom, shakalaka.
Yeah. Wow. All right. That is the famous Norm Pattis recreating a business model which is known to not work.
Years ago.
Known to not work. And how's that going to work out, Norm, when you have Toyota and you've got some guy saying, well, I heard that Poland is angry about blowing America and not getting in the visa waiver program. Here's how it goes, Norm. Okay, let's see. Hey, hello, Norm?
Yeah.
Norm. Yeah, hey, this is Tom down in. I'm the chief revenue officer.
Yeah.
Hey,
where?
Norm, this Podcast One thing you've got going on, we really liked it, and we got the sales material out there, and
fantastic.
The upfront was great. We got a lot of buy-in. And Toyota, they're having a little problem with this show you have. Like, I know
we're brand safe.
Your brand. Well, maybe we have a different understanding of brand safe, Norm, because this thing about Jews and Poles, it didn't go over well with the car companies.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm telling you, this is so stupid.
Well,
Wow.
go look at this page and you'll see what it is.
Wait a minute, let me guess. Podcast1.com?
It's something like that, yeah.
Oh, man.
And it looks like Pod Show circa 2003. And I guess it seems like he's Ron Bloom reincarnate.
The Brody Jenner podcast. Oh, wait, let me guess. He must be a Kardashian. Yeah, I bet she is.
Well, they have all the regular.
The Snooki podcast.
They do some of their own. They do a few of their own, and they're all these horrible. They don't download for crap.
Oh, they have the Adam Carolla show here.
Yeah, well, that's the aggregation part of it. It makes it look as though he's like producing Adam Carolla when Adam Carolla has his own network.
Are we on here? No, we can't be on here.
No, we're not on.
Have you tried?
No, we talked too much about the Polish blowjob. I gotta get on.
What? We're banned? Oh, there's no agenda in here. We're banned.
Not brand safe.
5 simple steps to listen. Let's see. Oh, Kathy Lee Gifford explain. Oh, hold on a second, John. Stop the presses.
There we go.
Let me just let me put this on the proper machine here. This is, oh my goodness. We're so lucky. Kathy Lee Gifford is going to explain how easy it is to listen to a podcast. Let me patch her in. I didn't know she was
Good luck getting it to stream at all.
Yeah, what's a YouTube video? So.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kathy Lee Gifford, and today I want to demonstrate for you in 5 simple ways how easy it is for you to listen to my new weekly podcast, okay? On your mobile device.
Hold on a second. I hereby apologize to the universe for allowing this to take place. I'm sorry that it has come to this. This is the jump the shark moment of podcasting.
Step 1. Using your smartphone or tablet, download the free Podcast One app from either the iTunes App Store or Android Marketplace.
Woo!
Remember, it's free.
It's free!
Step 2. Launch the now downloaded app on your mobile device.
Launch it!
Even I can do that.
Ugh.
Okay, so you shouldn't be having any problem yet.
You're stupid.
Step 3.
Yes.
Locate the Kathy Lee and Company show page by either scrolling down or utilizing the search feature.
Search feature. Wow.
Step 4. Select the episode and guest interview you would most like to listen to.
Oh.
And that's going to be the hard part, you guys.
Yeah, 'cause it's
honestly,
so good.
because I've had so many amazing guests come on my podcast. So use your time wisely. Choose the one you like best.
Oh, wow.
And then listen to another one.
Oh, let's do another one.
And step 5.
Oh, there is no step 5.
And this I can't help you with. You're going to have to do this on your own. Enjoy your podcast, Kathy Lee and Company, with whatever guest you picked.
Wow.
And then go through the whole thing again. Pick another one. Go ahead, live a little. Enjoy life.
Hey, John, go ahead, live a little.
I do, yeah.
Pick one, live a little. The No Agenda Podcast. No, thank you very much. That's I can handle a lot. We're killing brown people everywhere, but this is depressing. This is very bad.
I thought you'd get a kick out of it.
I'm not sure how I'm supposed to feel about this. I wouldn't mind if they put our show in their directory.
Yeah, they probably get no views anyway, so what difference does it make? I think it's...
Yeah, let me play this clip. I'm sure this clip will get us into the Podcast One store.
We heard an account from a former nurse at Broadmoor who, when they were a student, had a conversation with Savile at night. It was a quiet night, and Savile was talking to this student nurse about what happened when it was quiet at Leeds General Infirmary, and said that he went to the mortuary at night and played with the bodies and committed sex acts on them.
Bingo, boom, shakalaka.
This is so good. This story gets better and better.
What is this?
That's Jimmy Savile. This is now the new...
Oh, Savile was one of those guys. He was a necrophiliac.
Yeah.
There was a club in New York. I heard this was passed around. I actually have to check on some names to make sure these people are all dead, because you can only talk about them when they're dead.
Right.
But there was a necrophiliac club in New York City that was in the back of a mortuary.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
It was going to be in the biography of Hans von Bülow.
Oh.
Because apparently he was one of the members, along with a couple of very famous American playwright and some others, and they would go into this place. It was set up with a back door. There's a lot of crazy clubs in New York, and this was one of them. And I think this is just goes on in some of these joints.
That's pretty weird.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Hey, who died this week?
Hey, two quick things about the United Kingdom of Gitmo Nations before we get out of here. It's my job to keep us on time. Two very disturbing items. The UK column, which is I think the UK column it's more a website than anything, and they publish alternative news. They're definitely anti-mainstream. And they also do I think it's a monthly or maybe even a quarterly podcast, just a video basically on YouTube. And they received a letter from ATVOD. This is the Authority for Television on Demand, a subsidiary of Ofcom, which is essentially the UK's FCC. So it's ATVOD, as they're known.
We're heading this way.
Yeah, this is the podcast license. Gave notice to UK column that as a result of a statutory instrument amendment to the 2003 Communications Act, UK column is required to notify the Authority for Television on Demand that it was running an on-demand program service, and they have to pay a fee, and they need to submit to regulation. Apparently because the program they produce is, quote, television-like. And they put a very funny video where they're sitting in a car with a baby seat, and they're saying, let's not make it too television-like, because, then we're getting in trouble.
Really?
Yeah. At present, ATVOD claims to exist in order to prevent harmful material becoming available to children and to prevent hate speech. That's why it has to be regulated, of course. So this is how I read this.
Coming to here.
Yeah, any video on demand service, television video on demand, needs to be regulated to prevent harmful material for children and hate speech.
Yeah.
Anyone submitting to the current light regulatory framework joins a fluid and evolving regulatory framework with potentially draconian financial penalties. The penalties allowed for this ATVOD through the Communications Act of 2003 amounts to 5% of the regulated organization's turnover, which I think is gross, or £250,000, whichever is the greater amount.
Yikes.
And so they got an enforcement note. This, even though they really are a blog, I think they also print something quarterly. They gave the UK column 10 working days to comply with the demands and become part of the regulated system.
Wow, what a great way to shut people up.
And you're absolutely right.
It's
coming to us, you bet. Very, and more people need to be talking about this. Now, it's not their main business, so it's not going to hurt them. But what's next? Who's next?
Well, let's see. What other video people that we know personally that produce a product, a video product and they use the video only on TV, a lower third.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's very television-like.
Name comes underneath you, and it fades in and fades out. It seems like television to me.
Yeah, television-like.
And if you hit that little thing in the corner that says full screen.
And even better, if you say it's video on demand, that would be the definition of what they regulate, video on demand. You'll be very careful with these things. I want to make very clear, we're a podcast. We're little itty-bitty podcasts. But we do have podcastlicense.com.
Yes.
And then
we were self-regulating.
And then there was and this is also from the UK, which seems to be beta for everything New World Order. They have been looking at having the transportation system, but in particular the bus services in London go cashless. And they came out with a consultation report from the mayor of London. They asked people, what do you think about going cashless? So not being able to pay for the bus with cash, which of course is a war on cash. And here's the questions they asked. 1, do you agree with the proposal, yes or no? 2, if no, please tell us why and what we can do to make the proposal acceptable, which is essentially a fait accompli right there. So if you don't like it, how can we make it so you do like it? And 3, do you currently use cash, yes or no? Well, overwhelmingly, 25,330, 67% of the respondents said no, they do not want the buses to be cashless. And 32% said yes, we do. The people, now it wasn't actually a lot of people who used cash who didn't agree. This is pointed out in this survey. And again, this is a fait accompli. It's going to happen no matter what. This is just how can we make it easier for you to understand that you need to live in a world without cash. The most common reason for disagreeing with the proposal amongst cash users was their lack of familiarization with Oyster. Now, Oyster is the very big disputed card. It's been hacked in the Netherlands. It's complete tracking. It tracks you everywhere. It's RFID. It is a slave ID is what it is. Other non-cash users were worried about the impact on other people, such as tourists, visitors, and lone travelers. And broadly, a third of people who responded welcomed the proposal as a way to maintain bus service and keep fares down. Because they were told it will mean faster journey times, more reliable service. It will reduce crime associated with cash transactions and moving cash around. And savings will help keep fares down and services running. Now, here's what is interesting, what I noticed as I read through this consultation. They have a nice document, about 15 pages. The way they're going to usher this in, which I think is very interesting, this card, one of the main points is people who need to make unplanned journeys, such as hospital or to get home from the hospital, people have vehicles are broken home. If they don't have an Oyster card, then you don't have this slave ID card, then you can't participate in the system. Cash is no longer valid. And they had all these stakeholders. So now we're done with the citizens. Thank you very much. You don't agree. We're going to find a way to make it agreeable for you. And here is the main point that kept cropping up amongst all the stakeholders. Here's the GLA Transport Committee. We would want those without bank accounts not being able to automatically top up, and lower income households should be able to go into negative balance on the card. You see what's happening here, John?
Yeah.
They're turning your travel ID into a credit card.
Yeah.
Every single one of them says you should be allowed to go into negative balance on your trip. So if you didn't have enough money, then it's okay. Don't worry about it. We'll credit you. And this is very, very dangerous. In one fell swoop, they are removing cash from a very important part of the system and turning that into a credit facility, which I'm sure will be extended in many different ways. It's just the beginning. This is just the tip that's being slipped in. And the conclusion is we believe a robust plan is in place to respond to the concerns people have raised in the consultation and are proposing the following mitigations. And right there at the top, the rollout of a new Oyster feature, allowing passenger with insufficient funds to go into negative balance. This is This is really the beginning of the end.
No, well, it's been the beginning of the end for a long time.
True.
But we've talked about cashless societies, and that's what they love, that idea, because then you're really screwed if they want to, you want to keep the guy from going anywhere. You have to
turn off that card.
His car off.
Turn his card off. Yeah.
Turn his car. Turn his car off.
Turn his car off.
Then turn his card off.
Right.
And then turn everything else off, and then just tell them they better get, I don't know what. I mean, you can there's too much control from the government control the individual's singular activities. Going from point A to point B, I can't even do it.
No. Wow.
It's a ridiculous society if you get to that point, and that's where it's what everything is headed to. I mean, as far as I can tell, why would you have something like that? Because it's costing too much money to count the money?
Well, but we've been convinced, and it's a part of the whole phone and wearables and everything, that cash is lame. It's outdated. It's wrong. It makes no sense.
Germs.
It's dirty. Yeah, it makes no sense. You can't have cash. This is stupid. Well, there you go.
Well, good luck.
I got one more if you want. I don't know what you want to do.
No, might as well. The show's going too long.
No, it's not. We're perfect 3 hours. You want to quit?
No. I want to hear this last thing.
Okay. It's a two-parter.
Uh-oh.
This is the Alan Cohn. He is responsible for the quadrennial Homeland Security Review. This is the Department of Homeland Security, and they have to do a review of all these incredible, important programs that they are running through. And
what does quadrennial mean?
I think it's once every 4 years.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, it's like the World Cup.
Oh, well, it's at the same time as the World Cup, so every time there's a World Cup, we know there's going to be one of these.
Yeah, it'll be easy to remember.
Yeah.
And so of course, I watched his 2 hours of this talk that he gave, and it was just, the people in the audience were clearly trying to figure out how can I make money off of this. And here's a couple of pieces that I picked up, and in particular, this notion which I need to discuss.
And in the review and a companion document soon to be released, we talk about the different models and archetypes, the ways of thinking about interests and outcomes and aligning them under common archetypes and models. And we do this as a tool not only for ourselves, but for the entire enterprise to think about how we can use public-private partnerships most effectively.
I love this, by the way. Public-private partnerships. It means all these commercial companies working and sharing with the government your information, your data, to protect you from yourself, I guess.
To reach our common ends. Our renewed emphasis on countering terrorism using an improvised nuclear device, on advancing rational, common sense, comprehensive immigration.
Love this. It's all improvised nuclear device, common sense, regulatory framework for immigration.
Reform and advancing national preparedness and resilience under the mechanisms of the National Preparedness System, the Post-Katrina Emergency Management Reform Act, and Presidential Preparedness Directive 8, all of which set up a comprehensive national preparedness system for prevention, protection, mitigation, response, and recovery.
You are now in the system, citizen.
Presidential Policy Directive 8. Okay. The term national preparedness refers to the actions taken to plan, organize, equip, train, and exercise, and build and sustain capabilities necessary to prevent, protect against, mitigate the effects of, respond to, and recover from those threats that pose the greatest risk to the security of the nation. The term security refers to the protection of the nation and its people, vital interests, and way of life. That's pretty broad, eh? We need security for our way of life. Well, I would say my way of life is being hampered by this security. I can't travel normal anymore. The term resilience refers to the ability, this is all from President Obama's PPD-8. The term resilience refers to the ability to adapt to changing conditions and withstand and rapidly recover from disruption due to emergencies. And the term prevention refers to those capabilities necessary to avoid, prevent, or stop a threatened or actual act of terrorism. Prevention capabilities include, but are not limited to, information sharing and warning, domestic counterterrorism, and preventing the acquisition or use of weapons of mass destruction, which we know is qualified as pretty much a cherry bomb is a weapon of mass destruction by the definition. For purposes of the prevention framework called for this in this directive, the term prevention refers to preventing imminent threats. And then there's a couple more, but I wanted to talk for a moment about this concept of the improvised nuclear device, also known as a dirty bomb. And Atomic Rod Adams, I promised this, has a great post on his Atomic Insights blog from Larry Grimm. Larry Grimm is a former naval officer who has dealt specifically with nuclear devices and with what we would understand as improvised nuclear devices or dirty bombs. And I just want to pick a few quotes from this great article. He has 27 years experience working with a wide variety of radioactive materials and their uses. His personal insights he wants to help equip citizens with what he considers the most effective tool available in the fight against terrorism. So, what is a radiological dispersion device, or what we would call a dirty bomb? When you hear dirty bomb, John, what do you think as a, and I, by the way, I thought the same probably as you, as a citizen, what do you think this is? What does it mean?
Somebody's got a bomb, and they pack it with a bunch of radiologic waste, like from the hospital, or so maybe they can get some uranium dust, or maybe if they had plutonium, it'd be kind of cool. And then they pack it around the bomb, and then you light the bomb up and it makes a mess and blows this crap all over the place.
And what is the actual danger of the crap that's blown all over the place?
It's radioactive.
Yeah. Well,
it's like a health hazard. Depends on the stuff. If it's plutonium, it would not be good.
So here's what he's saying. He's saying, so this is a weapon designed to spread radioactive material over an area. Radioactive materials can be spread via conventional, dirty bomb, an aerosol device, or through waterways. What is the biggest concern from a radiological dispersion device? Two things. Number one, the irrational fear it can induce, and number two, the expense of the cleanup. The possibility of radiation actually hurting anyone is quite small in a dirty bomb example. I like this. Fear and panic kill people. Radioactive materials are chemicals. Sometimes it's easy to clean them up, sometimes it's not. For example, cleaning oil off concrete is hard, but picking up chunks of metal is easy. If you suspect a chemical agent is used in a dirty bomb, do not seek shelter in a low space like a basement. Most chemicals are heavier than air and will settle in low spaces. If it goes off in your area, there are 4 simple protection techniques: containment control, distance, shielding, and time. Radioactive materials are rarely immediately life-threatening. So people think when you say dirty bomb, I guarantee you most people think it's like Hiroshima. You know what I mean? Like a big mushroom cloud or something.
I disagree with that.
Really? I totally thought that.
No. It's going to explain to death on these shows.
Really? I have never heard this explanation. He said, in most cases, it would be essentially the effect of an X-ray at moderate distance.
Probably, yeah. It depends. Now, if it's plutonium, I disagree with that too, because if it's plutonium, it gets in particle form. I mean, you breathe in one particle or a couple of particles, and you're subject to all kinds of problems.
He says in 99.999% of radiation exposures, no effect is felt or seen. If I went towards the blast area to help someone, I would not fear the radiation. However, I would be cautious and respectful of the radiation.
There should probably be less radiation at the blast spot.
Therefore, I would use the following techniques no matter if I was escaping the area, trapped in the area, or going in to help. Keep radioactive chemicals off and out of your body. Button up clothing and wear a mask. However, if I need to be near the source, I make sure I'm downwind of the source. Now, there could be a nasty chemical associated with a radioactive bomb, so even if I felt slightly ill, I would seek medical help immediately. Distance. Even in the worst bomb scenario, you'd be safe from the radiation if you get just a couple blocks away and get upwind of the potential airborne material. Think of it as standing next to a campfire. Don't get too close to the heat radiation. It could burn you, but if far enough away, you do not get any heat. Exactly like a campfire, you do not want to be in the smoke, so get upwind. I didn't know any of this.
Okay.
And I think I've been propagandized about these dirty bombs. Remember the senator we were listening to? dirty bombs. We can't just.
Well, I don't know how you missed the memo.
Well,
it doesn't make any sense to me that you think that. Be honest about it.
I've never really thought about it, but I was just kind of assumed. I think I saw some movies or something about a dirty bomb, and eventually everybody dies. You can't help it. It's just a matter of time, and I don't know. I was pleasantly surprised. I'm like, oh, that doesn't sound too bad. I can put that in my go bag as a doomsday prepper.
A mask. A mask is a good
mask
idea.
Is a good idea. A gas mask, I presume. I was surprised. I'm
glad that you finally came to your senses on this matter.
I think it is being overused to terrorize people, for sure.
It's all about terrorizing the public.
Yeah.
Everything is. In fact, the fact that dirty bombs mentioned over and over and over again recently, and then you brought it up, I'm now thinking it's some sort of an ongoing meme because somebody's going to set one of these things off on the 6-week cycle.
Oh. I just don't see that happening.
Well, it could be thwarted. A dirty bomb about to go off. This time they're not going to screw it up like they did in Boston and thwart the explosion. And it's going to be a huge scandal. And then all the shows for the next 2 weeks are going to be, what if?
You know what? It'll be great for Podcast One. Kathy Lee can do hours of material about it.
Podcast One. Okay, well, I'm done.
Me too.
I'm glad you got that out of your system.
Well, I hope someone learned from that. I had no idea. Clearly, all I need to do is just ask you in the future.
Well, in that case,
where do babies come from?
Yes, that's coming up for the next No Agenda.
All right, everybody, thank you very much for supporting us, for listening to us, and please go to Dvorak.org/NA. We'll be back on Thursday with another jam-packed episode of news analysis and comedy.
Yes. And yes.
Coming to you from FEMA Region 6 here in the capital of the Drone Star State in the morning, everybody. My name is Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where the trains lazily go by and the cars mosey down the freeway, I'm John C. Dvorak.
And we'll be back on Thursday right here on No Agenda.
I'm Joe Biden, and thank you for taking the time to listen.
I think his first name may have been Ben.
So a guy named Ben, a dude named Ben.
Bingo, boom, shakalaka.
Caliphate!
The best podcast in the universe.
Dvorak.org/NA